Okay, welcome everybody to day 4 of our national conference. This is the big important day. We're going to have a little bit more discussion and then we're going to get into our big final chair debate. We'll have a moderator for that and everything. And then towards the end of the night, I do believe our voting form is going to go live. So look forward to that. I am AJ, I am the current chair. Uh, this is sort of where I probably like hassle you to vote for me a little bit, but I won't do that because I'm also going to let the other two kind folks who have joined me to kick off this day of the stream introduce themselves. Drew, you are the first person that I see.
Hi, I'm Drew Bingaman. I am the uh, current Pennsylvania captain.
All right, thank you, Drew. V, you are up next.
Yes, hello. I am V from Texas. We are starting the Texas chapter of the Pirate Party. I'm also here in National, the one of the outreach coordinators, and I'm one of the candidates for the chair position. Or if you hopefully will vote me in as either chair or vice chair of next year's board.
All right, thank you too. I'm still setting up, promoting the fact that we're live. I'm going to post on Twitter and do all of that fun stuff. But while we're doing that, we had a few conversation topics while we wait. The first one that we wanted to talk about was of this past year in the pirate world, the 2022 to 2023 term. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of stuff I could say, a lot of things I'm really proud of, a lot of things that I think we could improve on in the future. But first, I want to hear from you two. You both uh, started getting seriously involved this year, I believe. I don't think the PA Pirates have been around for more than a year. Am I right, Drew?
Uh, about a year. I mean, well, officially probably a little less than that. But yeah, this is about the time we were seriously starting to get things together. So, it's about a year.
All
Um,
right, so that means,
so
yeah, you are both fresh. This has been your first year in the party, pretty much for both of you. I mean, how do you all feel about how we've done, and what do you seek to improve in the next year?
V, do
Open
you
question.
wanna
Well,
go first?
I want Drew to go
You
first
want me to
because
go first?
you have more experience.
Look. I
Pennsylvania
think
Pirates. Tell us more.
Yeah, I think honestly what we really just need to do is really work on outreach, trying to get more people involved, because I think the more people we get involved, the more we can do. Um that's you know and I'm interested in hearing of any creative ways that we can do better with outreach. Um I'm not sure that I necessarily have the best ideas on how to do that effectively. So, um, you know, uh, but I think that's going to be the key moving forward, and especially if we want to try and make our name known here in the next at this next election um, that will be coming up. So, yeah.
Well, we do have some outreach people on the call. Yeah, let me just double check to see who's on YouTube. We might have some outreach people on YouTube as well. But I just want to say that outreach is one of my passions. Not graphic design. um, but one of the big things that we have seen in the national Discord channel is that um, most of our interested people in pirate politics are coming from either the U.S. Pirate Party Wikipedia or the Twitter page that is run by the board. And just to clarify, the Wikipedia is not run by the board. Actually, um, I haven't even dug into who's running the Wikipedia page for the pirates. Internationally, we are getting more into collaborating with the world of the pirate world. So I have extended my first invitation to one of our international pirates in terms of, like, wanting to speak with other developers and graphic designers in terms of like media. One of the biggest projects this spring has been a tentative media kit that has just collected almost all, because there's one more social media avenue that we're still collecting information, but almost all the major social media platforms to um, create a kind of like marketing campaign. So one of the most recent things that was brought to the attention of outreach is creating a marketing campaign about around holidays. So the next big holiday, um, according to capitalism and greeting cards, is Father's Day. So we'll probably do something fatherly. Um, hey, I am a riot. Um, what else are we doing for outreach? We so yeah, so when we were collaborating with, and I believe it's called the Pirate Party UK. um they're like, oh yeah, we're moving from Google Docs to GitHub. So now that tentative media kit, in terms of like guidelines, in terms of like image, for like photos or videos, that's on GitHub now. uh the party doesn't have a GitHub yet, but that's great in terms of decentralization, so that we can all um, fork and these are jargon, fork and clone repos, and I don't know, just embody the spirit of collaboration and decentralization. What else can I say about outreach? Do you have more specific like ideas or questions? And yeah, let me just double check our YouTube,
I don't
see
believe we
what's
have
going on. Oh, okay.
anything yet in terms of YouTube, but I also just put it out everywhere, so we should probably give everyone a moment.
Great, great.
Uh, yeah, I mean, there's a lot we could talk about in terms of the past, present, and future. I'm sure we'll get into the future more when we do those chair vice chair debates, which we will actually all be involved in. I'm hoping Yari can moderate that for us. I believe they said they would. But yeah, if we're to reflect on, here's a way we can do it. If we're to reflect on the past year, what's one thing we did well, one thing we probably shouldn't have done, and one thing we can improve on in the future. I don't have my list yet, but I want either of you to answer it like that. That might be a fun way to start.
Okay. Let's see. What did we do well? Geez, that's really putting on the spot, right? Like so what something we could have done better is probably done a little more testing on some of the things that we attempted to implement that did not go as well as planned. But then again, we were in a time crunch, so I get it. It's not trying to blame anybody for that. I mean, but that probably we could have done better, could have executed that better. Boy, I don't know. I think I think other than that, I think we're doing pretty well. I know uh, it's we do. I really think again what we need to do better is, again, I think we need to do better at getting more people involved, and I don't know how to do that, but it's just something that. So if anybody has ideas, open
Chat.
open to it. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. Like I think honestly, yeah, I don't know. It's a you put us on the spot there, AJ.
Yeah, that because that's how we get candid answers.
It's a candid. Yeah, it's
Uh,
candid.
I mean, I will say, I think the thing we really did do well was our outreach. I mean, we can keep going. We can always improve, but I mean, our outreach related endeavors this year are something I'm very proud of, and that's also helped
May-
us make actual formative connections within sort of the minor party sphere,
Maybe
which
maybe
I
I
think are
shouldn't
going to be
say
very
just
important.
maybe I shouldn't just say like outreach in general, but maybe conversion rate. Like what's the conversion rate? I mean, like we make a lot of good contacts, but what's the conversion rate to somebody that's actually active to get involved, right? That's more I guess
Mhm.
how can we, what can we do to improve that? I mean, that's the question every volunteer organization, right, is looking for. How do we get more people involved, whether it's just to let them know that we're a thing, or to actually get them to help and do something.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and I think that's a good thing to keep in mind because, we can do all these social media campaigns and be loud in the right ways and make ourselves known. But at the end of the day, that doesn't do anything for us if we aren't still trying to find a way to convert those eyes on us to people that stick around, right?
mhm.
And I do think that figuring out how to do that part exactly is important. I've been saying for a while that I think we do a really good job catching people's eyes, and not quite as good of a job converting that into labor power, right? And I do think it's something that we're going to have to solve. I'm faithful that we will. I think we're going to, but yeah, that's not a bad thing to think about. And V, do you have anything to contribute?
Yeah, well, I just, since I'm fresh on the crew, I just thinking about my experience when I I was, let's see, not this year, but like 2 years ago, around this time, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna look up what's going on in the world." As I was freshly graduating from my master's program, and I remembered, I remembered the pirates, and I remembered back in my day in 2006 when it was new and fresh and amazing, and it's still new and fresh and amazing, and I really captured that spirit when I showed up, and immediately I was tagged like, "Hey, you're from Texas? Here are other people from Texas." And then even though I went and came back, like, I came back quote unquote full speed ahead, but because I had that great experience, that first, experience of like, oh, I saw the pirate, like there's like three, in marketing we have like this three process to conversion. There's, knowledge, and then there's testing the waters, and then there's like, yeah, this might be for me. So I came back and I joined Pirate Chat, and that was great. Didn't know what to expect, and that's the kind of like just this freedom that we have as a third party, as a minor party, um, in terms of like, being open to no expectations. Like nobody expects you to join the Discord and get to work. That's not how it works. We expect for you to join the Discord, ask questions, and get to learn each other. So like in terms of outreach, just from my experience and coming in, looking around, and then coming back, looking around again, and finally, I mean, I think I do a little. I like memes, so I like making memes for us. But in terms of like outreach, it's just really about getting to know each other, and the volunteers we do have is about appreciating them. And um, if so and so is, driving home from work and can only be on VC voice chat, then, honoring that and saying, "Hey, thank you for for joining voice chat," or "Thank you for sending your video ahead." A thank you and a hello and how are you go a long way.
All right, thank you, V. I mean, I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, I think outreach is really important to focus on, and I think we've been doing that well. I don't know. I don't know. I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished so far, and I think that things can go well in the future. Okay, doing well on that. I think we're going to start to. Can I get my camera back up? I can. Um, I think we're going to start, hopefully, to hear more from some more potential speakers and candidates as they usher in. I'm trying to get them on call right now. V, what were some of the other conversation topics we had while we waited?
Yes. So other conversation topics that we have is, we talked about what we've done this year. We talked a lot about outreach. I apologize. It's just a big on our plate. Let's see. We also want to talk about the voting process. So we have three candidates on the call at the moment. And I'm not seeing any candidates or anyone on the YouTube yet, but we have three candidates so far on the call, and we are preparing to talk more about the candidates, what the candidates hope for the next coming year of Pirates, and we're also going to talk about the voting process. Um, I have to have to look at the bylaws for verbatim, but we're trying something new this year. Drew and AJ, like you have more in depth knowledge on that, right?
Well, I think the
I just know
idea
what I'm
is
doing.
the idea is that there will be a ballot that will be accessible. Should be sometime this evening, I believe, is when that's going to be available. Right, AJ?
I do believe it's sometime this evening,
Yeah.
or like tonight, midnight Eastern, which would be this evening for some people. Something like that.
And then, from the time that it goes live to the beginning of the meeting tomorrow,
Mhm.
is that
Again, I
when
believe so. I
that's
believe
when
it's the
our
beginning of the meeting.
yeah. So you'll have that basically all day tomorrow.
About 20
Um,
hours or so,
yeah.
something like that.
To then get your votes in, and that the results of that election is that's how we're going to go with it. So um, it is the are we still with the Shoals method? Is that correct?
I believe the Shoal, if I understand everything right, don't take my word for this. I believe the Shoals method is essentially going to kick in for vacancies, or if we need to
Okay.
figure something out if something goes wrong. That's when we're using the
Yeah.
Shoals method.
So
I think the ballot again. Don't don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure the way Yari is going to set up the ballot is going to be pretty standard. Kind of like a first past the post, except we're not
right.
caring all that much about 50%. Um, or they might implement something interesting. I actually don't know if we told them what to do or if the board told them what to do. So I think they could still technically get creative if they wanted to, and I would welcome that. Um, but yeah, what happened was we decided, or I got this idea in my head. I brought up that, hey, if we're gonna do the whole Piratey McPirateface thing as a theme this year, then it's a great year to finally kick the old voting system to the curb and let everybody vote on the officers themselves. So we got to work and we implemented it, and now everybody's going to be able to vote on the officers. I believe all we are requiring for you to vote in the form is your contact information, your email, maybe a phone number, things like that. So that will ensure that you
Yeah.
are committed to the organization enough to give us your information voluntarily, so you can be put on our lists and things like that. That we can contact you for future events. But it's not such a high barrier to entry that it's impossible to get in, or that you have to provide us with anything unreasonable. We figured that we wanted, some barrier, and maybe we could get some ethically sourced info out of it, but we didn't want to make it too much of a hassle to vote.
Yep. The giving up of your information is the bar that we have set.
It's only the pirate way. Also, in talking, since some of us have been nominated more than one position, the additional implications of that is that we can only accept one position if we're voted in. We can accept as many nominations as we wanted, and some of us have. But yeah, we want to lessen the hat wearing to as minimal as possible. There will always be overlap. Collaboration is that way, but you won't have multiple positions for one person.
Yeah, because that gets horrible. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm not fully aware that Indiana as a branch has struggled a little bit, because I've been over here trying to be the chair, and myself and my deputy chair are both college students, and it's the less hats one individual person wears, the better, and the more functional we are as an organization. So we try to cut down on the hat wearing, and that's also why Mitch, the wonderful current Swarm Care Manager, Illinois rep, and opponent of mine for chair, who will be here momentarily, suggested that he did not want to leave this conference without a full board of the PNC with unique members in every slot. And I think that was a great goal, and I think we're going to have it. So, yes, we're lessening the hat wearing. Finally, this has needed to happen since 2006. Seriously, I'm so ready. I'm so ready. You have no idea. We're going to be so much more functional after after tomorrow's meeting. I'm dying over here. We please. I don't care who you vote for vice chair. This is my only demand. This is my only demand to you, dear viewers, the audience. You want to know what a good ticket looks like for chair and vice chair? You have 4 options: AJ for chair and Mitch for vice chair, AJ for chair and V for vice chair, AJ for chair and Drew for vice chair, and AJ for chair and Matthew for vice chair. They're all great choices. Please, if you vote for me, my only demand for you is please give me a vice chair. I am begging you. I was never supposed to not have a vice chair.
I think somebody's probably going to accept that. I mean, there'll be a vice chair. I'm not too worried about that, AJ.
Also, I want to point out that AJ's been working on this all afternoon. He even made a website. AJ, would you like to show everyone your website?
I could. I mean, I'm not too proud of it. It was mostly just something I did for fun. But I mean, I can put it in chat or something.
Beautiful. Yeah.
All right, I'll link my little. Let me get it. But yes, we will probably leave the meeting with a vice chair. I'm just saying, after a year of serving as chair and not having a vice chair, I'm one of you is going to take the slot, and you're going to like it.
Somebody will step up.
I'll put my little website in the chat here, and I'll also put it in the meeting chat. It's just a dumb little thing I whipped up in an hour as a little mini campaign for chair. You two can be free to look at it and quiz me on it if you want. Let me put it. There we go. I muted myself. It's also not complete. There were a couple other things I wanted to throw on it. It's fine. It was a fun little project. Oh, hey, Rowan.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Now we have Rowans. Now we have 4 people. So hopefully the banter is about to get even more exciting. Rowan, we were going around talking about this. This past year for the party, 2022 to 2023 board, what's something you thought we did really well, and what are some things you thought we could have improved on?
I mean, in my experience, at least, and I have minimal experience because, again, I'm really new here. I guess community, that's something that's been a strong point. You know, I especially the pirate chats. Also, there's probably jazz in my background. There's someone playing live jazz, just for reference. But yeah, no, I think the community's been a lot closer and much more like, opening, I guess. Like, people just can join in on pirate chats and, have a grand old time and feel close without feeling like they have to have, like, a lot of knowledge, and welcoming to new people joining the party. But weak points. Well, I think I said this like the other day, but like in-person stuff, at least specifically on like in general, like I think that I'd like to see more like other state parties do in-person tabling in their local, town centers or city downtowns, just, to have that as like kind of like as presence, physical presence, as well as internet presence, because I think both are equally important.
All right, thank you, Rowan. How do you think we might be able to improve those things under your leadership as a Swarm Care Manager? Or did you accept another position? I can't remember.
I accepted the Swarm Care one.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Honestly, I won't pretend that no one else can do what I am thinking about. But if I was to be the Swarm Care Manager, I mean, just really communicating with state parties and trying to help them in any way we can. I don't know the financial details, and I assume that's more so the job of the treasurer. but at least with moral support and strategic support and emotional support, you know, I think on the swarm care side, that's kind of the role of swarm care, making sure everyone, you know, has the everything other than physical means to table. You know, like maybe creating graphics for tabling, or you know, creating guides on how to be safe when tabling, because that's a big thing. Um, and moral support overall, just encouraging people to do it and telling them giving them support to feel like they have the ability to do it.
All right, thank you, Rowan. I'm gonna have to go. I'll be here. I have to check on something unrelated here on my laptop real quick. Please, V, Drew, banter with Rowan for a little bit.
All right, Rowan, tell us more about what's going on and in Chicago.
Well,
What have
sadly,
the Illinois Pirates done this year? We talked a little bit about Pennsylvania Pirates. We talked a little bit about the provisional Texas Pirates. What's going on? What's been happening in the pirate world in the Illinois Chicagoland?
I'd say, well, first of all, in the Illinois world, we've been creating different districts of for people who do join the Illinois Party. We want it to be I mean, at least I'm a Chicagoan and Mitch is as well. But we also want to have people from different parts of Illinois participate. So there's been creation of different. I think the terminology is regions. I might be mistaken, but just so so I think the creation of that is opening the doors to other people around the state, so we can have different perspectives overall for Illinois pirates. So that's a strong point, I'd say, in relation to the Illinois Pirate Party. Um, we've had people join the Discord server from different parts of the state, and it's helped us get different perspectives on what people want and want to see, and what they want to do exactly. Depending on how they want to participate in the party. Um, so that's what I've observed personally. But now Mitch is here, I think, right?
I saw Mitch. Mitch, are you with us?
I am with you. I'm always with you, but I'm with you here right now.
Yes, Mitch. We decided in the time before we get into conversations with the candidates to talk about what's been going on in the pirate world in the 22-23 time frame. And so we just asked Rowan a little bit about what's going on in the Chicagoland, Illinois pirates. So if you want to also give us and you went to Cave Rock words. Tell us more. Tell us what's been going on.
Sure. So, just a quick apology because I am driving, so I'm not going to be able to really have a camera on because you're just going to see an upshot of my nostrils. But otherwise, I think the Illinois Pirate Party and the Chicagoland Pirate Party itself are doing fantastic. I think we have exponential growth ahead of us. As I heard Rowan say, we have a lot of people from across the state, not just Chicagoland, which was a fear of mine, that we would be a Chicago centric state party, but we have people from central and southern Illinois who are now helping, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Uh, so, as long as we continue to see growth at the pace we've been having it, I'm very confident in the Illinois Pirate Party's ability. I think we can be running candidates statewide in 2024, and that's the plan. I know for the Chicagoland Pirate Party, I wanted to run as many aldermanic candidates as possible for the city of Chicago come 2027. And if we can get a mayoral candidate, great. But I would prefer to just, I want aldermen. I want the Chicagoland Pirate Party to be the party of Chicagoland, which we should want all our parties to be the party of where we are, because that's the beautiful thing about pirate parties. The more local you get, the more localized your pirate party gets, and I think that is the unique flavor that makes this party so great. That's it.
That's great. We loved your opening statements and AJ's back as well. But
I
before we
am
get
back.
back to AJ, we loved your opening video. Tell us more about like what it felt making it. How did you like just think of this amazing script that you gave us and presented for us?
So I've known about Cave and Rock and its history as a pirate den for quite some time. I guess as long as I've been looking up pirates, I've known about Cave and Rock. So it was just kind of I've always wanted to see Cave and Rock, and we needed a keynote speech, so it was kind of a 2-for-1. The script itself, I did my research, but I didn't really write anything down. I was just kind of winging it with each take. I knew what I wanted to say, and I knew the information I had to present. I, I, I do better when I'm winging it. We'll just put it like that. I was an actor. I could read a script, but in terms of strengths, I think improv has always been that. So. But yeah,
All right,
Cave and
thank
Rock.
you, Drew.
I'm very happy to have been able to share Cave and Rock as a part of the United States Pirate Party, because I feel as though pirate history, which is our history, everyone who calls himself a pirate in any way, shape, or form, and that goes from radio piracy to copyright piracy to internet piracy to literal seafaring pirates, we are pirates. And I think that Cave and Rock's history should be celebrated, even if some people may still look at pirates as though they're unsavory characters. That it's our story, and I think that there's a positive spin to our story that people tend to overlook, and I'm here to bring that a positive spin out.
All right. Thank you, Mitch. I just gotta say, look, between getting Ivan Bartos to speak at our 2022 conference and you traveling to Cave and Rock for our 2023 conference, uh, how are we supposed to keep this going in 2024? We need to start thinking about that like now. We need another cool video. Uh, Mitch, you raised your hand?
Yes, because again, we have a year to plan this, and by golly, I will plan it right. But if it's in person, we could have a special guest speaker show up for day one, and you know, why not Marcus Rediker? But let's not do that until I can confirm that. I don't want to tease something I can't deliver on.
I mean, hey, it's a good aspiration. I'd love to have Marcus Rediker. Anyway, it's time for debates. We have 2 of our 3 Swarm Care Manager candidates on deck, Mitch and Rowan. I am going to pull up the candidate questions submitted for the Swarm Care Manager, and then we're going to have to think of some of our own. Drew, V, try to think of some of your own Swarm Care questions while we're going through the initial list, please. And then, of course, if anyone has any questions in chat, we'll leave them for the list. I need to go get the list of Swarm Care Manager questions. We're going to start. I'm going to do this formal debate style. Yari likes having forums. I like having internet debate bro punch-outs. I think they're very fun. So we are going to give both Mitch and Rowan let me have to leave at 11 Eastern. Okay, no, that's okay. This shouldn't take that long. We still need some kind of time for our for our chair debate. Let me get a stopwatch here, actually. And Mitch, since you're the incumbent, I'm going to let Rowan go first with these. Once I get my stopwatch, we are going to let Rowan have 2 minutes to make his opening statement about why he will make a good Swarm Care Manager. All right, Rowan, you ready? 3, 2, 1, 2 minutes. I think I said 3 minutes. 3 minutes tops. Now.
Oh, okay. God, to start this off, I would say that before I endorse myself, I'd endorse Mitch because I think Mitch has been a great Swarm Care Manager. He's the person who brought me into this community. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't really know anything about any pirate party in the United States or in Illinois or in Chicago. But if people were to vote for me if they wanted to, I would like to help with tabling activities. I'd like to support people internally, mentally, not as anything more than advisory, but I'm not a psychologist or anything, but make sure people feel welcome, feel heard, and feel like they're included. And also resolve internal conflicts so nothing will get too heightened, because I know sometimes small conflicts can turn into big ones. So dealing with the small ones is honestly as important as dealing with the big ones. And yeah, just putting a community that everybody feels welcome in and Yeah, that's all I can really say. I don't think I'll take up all the 3 minutes. Mitch first, me second. That's all I gotta say.
All right, thank you, Rowan. I have it pulled up. You spent about a minute on that. I think it was excellent. I think it was succinct and um, an interesting endorsement of your of your opponent. But I like that. We're friendly here. Mitch, I'm going to put you on deck. Are you ready?
Let's make it happen, Captain.
All right. 3, 2, 1. 3 minutes. Go.
Well, what can I really say? I am the incumbent swarm care manager of the last 2 years, and I felt as though before I took over the position was either left unfilled or what's the word I'm looking for? Not satisfactory fulfillment. I think that under my reign as swarm care manager, there has been a importance added to the label, and I hope to see that continue with whoever ends up being the swarm care manager. I don't believe that I'm the right man for the job. I believe I'm the man who knows how to do the job. I think anyone can do this job as long as they're committed to it. I think Rowan happens to be very committed to anything he puts his mind to, and Rowan would make a fantastic swarm care manager. And even though he's not nominated, I think V would make a fantastic swarm care manager. But if you guys put me back in the position to be swarm care manager, I would be happy to lead it, and I'd be happy to continue making it into a position that everyone recognizes and can say, "Oh yeah, he's the swarm care manager." And I don't want a single person to have to ask, "What does a swarm care manager do?" If I can do everything correctly, and by the end of it, I would like everyone to know, "Oh yeah, Captain, Treasurer, Swarm Care, I know what everyone does."
All right, Mitch. That was also about a minute, so that's kind of cool. Y'all are very succinct. There's a question from the list that Yuri kind of pitched to Rowan the other day, but I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to ask this question to Mitch, then Rowan, and the question is, Mitch, what is your favorite pirate party from around the world, and what should we copy from them?
Well, my favorite pirate party is the Chicagoland Pirate Party. However, if I had to pick someone that is not my own, okay, I think I would most likely look towards a pirate party such as Luxembourg or even Brazil. I think Brazil has been a very low key contender, even though they may not have the electoral success that others have. I find them pleasantly organized. And I don't mean to say that, like, I can't believe how organized they are, but in terms of pirate parties, I can't believe how organized they are. And I think that their organization and Chile's, first of all, my God bless the pirate parties of the Americas. They are all under the radar, fantastic. Chile and Brazil kick ass, and mashallah, Canada will return, inshallah. But I think that if we look towards our neighbors, we have a solid strategy and a solid internal organization plan. If we look across the pond towards Europe, we have a better idea towards electoral success. And while electoral success may typically be the thing that we are trying to emulate, I don't think we can get very far without the internal organization, which is why I think looking at the Latin American pirate parties, they have done a phenomenal job with a lack of internal strife and a excess of internal organization. So, as much as I would look towards Europe for a winning strategy, I would look towards the fellow American pirates towards a internal winning strategy.
All right, thank you, Mitch. Rowan, you also have your chance to answer the question: Is what is your favorite pirate party from around the world, excepting any within the United States?
It's hard to follow up with that. Mitch really killed that one. So outside of the U.S., I don't know. But to start off, like with what Mitch said, I also am a huge fan of the Chicagoland Pirate Party, with no doubt. Um, but honestly, I haven't done my research in relation to all the other international ones. The only one that I know of, because they're quite prominent in relation to electoral success, which is not really the end all be all, but I still think is relevant, is the Czech Pirate Party, of course, and I do think we could take notes on, what they do electorally. Not in relation to activism, though, but electorally, maybe. But yeah, I can't beat Mitch on that one. He knows his shit.
Okay, well, then let's consider this. Rowan, since you are not necessarily trained in the arts of national swarm care and you are a new contender, let's quiz you on things that are a little bit more what you might be looking for here. So I'm going to give. We'll say it this way, Rowan. What are the things that you think Mitch could have done better at in regards of swarm care? And then I want Mitch to respond. Rowan.
Well, I'll first of all start with I don't think there's anything I'm truly like critical. I think Mitch has done an amazing job in that role. I rather than portraying it as the things he hasn't done well enough, I portray it as things that I think I would like to see additionally. Because again, I think he's already hit the bar of what the swarm care manager role is. But if he were to ask me, and he was interested in my opinion, like I said, tabling, that would be a fun thing to do. We've discussed this, but I think me and Mitch have talked about doing this before in Illinois, so he knows this too. But maybe pushing more into that. But again, not a criticism, more just an idea. Other than that, there's nothing I really can think of off the top of my head. I think Mitch has done his role amazing in amazing fashion. And yeah, I feel like more emphasis on, in-person efforts and supporting in-person efforts for the state parties would be something to keep in mind. But other than that, Mitch is awesome at his role. So that's my only addition, not criticism.
I don't accept that. I want you to press Mitch on something. There's got to be something, right?
I mean, this is gonna be really hard for you, AJ, because I don't really have much to press on for Mitch, because again, he has more experience than me, in my opinion. He knows what the U.S. Pirate Party needs in relations to, because he's been here.
Okay. Wait a minute. Now
Yes,
AJ is requesting a fist fight,
I won't give him that. I'm sorry.
and so we either need to give him a fist fight or
We're not the party of fist fights.
I have an idea, actually. I have an idea.
Okay.
Not
Rowan.
unless it's mutual.
No. I have an idea. I have a way to make this interesting.
Oh,
Rowan.
Don't mention
The other
baseball.
night.
AJ, it's already interesting.
Don't mention baseball.
It
Do
doesn't
not
need to be
mention-
more
No,
interesting.
not baseball. Not baseball. Rowan. The past few nights you've been mentioning Kentucky.
Yes.
How would you critique Mitch on handling the Kentucky situation?
I have no
I'm
details.
expecting this to fall back on. I'm expecting this to come back at me later. But do you have any criticisms of how would you do better as the swarm care manager?
I don't think Mitch failed at all in that role. I think there's things you could. Again, I think there's a difference between criticism and additions. I think that, but again, I don't know the details, so I can't really, because I didn't get the backroom details of what happened, so I can't criticize someone for what they did if I don't even know what they did. I think whatever Mitch did do in relation to that.
I don't think you're getting blood here, AJ. It just I know you're pushing for it, but I don't think it's coming.
I love Mitch too much. I think Mitch is good for the swarm care role. If he's not chair, then and he's not vice chair, then I want him to be swarm care manager. I just want to be the secondary option, truly. If we have ranked choice voting, if that's even possible. But I truly see Mitch as someone who's put a lot into the party. I've seen him as someone who puts a lot of his literal elbow grease into like every single thing he does. He motivates me to be participating in the Pirate Party. If he wasn't here, I wouldn't be as motivated. I still need to work on motivation. He's an example of what a pirate should be. So that's my final statement on that.
All right, man. No blood.
I have a
guess I'll just
question
to
that
walk
Mitch
away with
can
that.
answer.
Okay. Well, first I want to give Mitch time to respond if he wants to respond.
So just so we're clear, the two questions were what could Mitch have done better as swarm care manager, and what should Mitch have handled the Kentucky situation? Is that the question?
Well, yes, but I was mainly looking for you to because if I just asked those questions to you, that's weird, right? I was mainly looking to give you the opportunity to respond to anything Rowan would have said.
I will say I am highly flattered and I appreciate you, but I do not believe I'm perfect. In fact, I think I have a premier example of what I could have done better and that is simply
Oh, that is
grow
a great
the
time for the
young
it to
pirates
cut out.
and make sure that there's college branches. That is one regret I have over these last 2 years. I wish. Oh,
Mitch, you're cutting out
okay.
pretty
Can you
bad.
hear me now?
I think so.
Maybe. Maybe not.
No.
No,
No, we
no,
can't.
no. I think we lost.
Yes, no,
It
maybe
sounded like the gist of what Mitch was saying
I
was
will type it. I will
was
type
Okay.
it in
a wish
Okay.
for more activism on college.
Wait,
branches,
Mitch,
though.
Mitch. No, we're not letting you type while you're driving.
No, it's fine. I think we. But I do have a question for you, Mitch.
Oh, okay. Only regret is not expanding Young Pirates. Okay, that's fair. Okay, Drew, I'll let you go ahead and answer your question. Oh,
I
all right, that's okay, Ron.
For Mitch, if you are elected to or if you, let's say you are reelected as Swarm Care Manager and also elected to either vice chair or chair, which one of those positions is your priority to take?
I would accept any position offered to me. I currently have no priorities, and I've spoken privately about where I'm kind of sitting on the chair and vice chair position. I will be wherever I am needed. And if I am offered something before the other, uh, it'll just come down to, do I believe the people made the right choice in picking me? And while that's not a sign of me saying I'm going to deny anything, I probably would end up taking whatever's accepted to me or presented to me. I want to say that I think that if I had the choice, I think a third year as swarm care manager would be preferable, only because I think AJ has unfinished business that I wouldn't want to interrupt on or impede. Impede's the word I was looking for. Impede upon.
Well, I think you made it clear where you would, if you had to choose. I guess that is probably a better way to ask the question. But yeah, I'm sure everybody might be thinking about that. Anybody that is nominated for multiple positions, which one are you going to take if you would get them all? So I think that's probably something we should ask anybody that has multiple nominations. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else that's crazy. AJ, do you have more stuff? V, do you have something?
I think V had a question earlier. V, do you want to ask Mitch or Rowan first?
I believe Rowan is still AFK, so I'm gonna ask Mitch. How do you see the future of Pirate Chat as a swarm care manager? And just like background, Pirate Chat is under outreach at the moment.
So right now, Outreach does run the pirate chat, and I think that is part of, if should I get reelected, that should be something I do to kind of point new volunteers and new recruits towards the direction of pirate chat, because that is a key role of my job, is to welcome in new recruits into the swarm. So should more people be coming in, I suppose one position that I could be taking up is working directly with the outreach manager or the outreach coordinator or committeeman or however we title it. Whoever runs the committee, I could easily work hand in hand with them to make sure that everything goes well with Pirate Chat. And every time we run Pirate Chat, to have at least a couple faces show up, just to make sure, we can be a party that works together, but I want to be a party that knows each other. So I think Pirate Chat would be an incredible tool, and I think that as we move towards the next election cycle and just in the future in general, that is something we're going to have to continue to press upon. I think Pirate Chat, because of my job, it's hard for me to attend, but that doesn't mean I couldn't continue to point people in the direction of Pirate Chat once they're in.
All right, thank you. I do know that Rowan talked about that on Wednesday as well, so it was good for us to go ahead and get Mitch's feedback on that. Are there any other questions we asked Rowan on Wednesday that we could give Mitch the chance to answer? I will pull up the form and see. Oh, yes, we did actually ask another question to Rowan. Mitch, this is a good question. It's a weird question, but it's a good question. Why does the swarm need care?
Have you ever seen a swarm of bees? Like, it's fucking chaos. So you need someone to manage that. And like as funny as that sounds, I'm like dead serious in my analogy. That if you don't have someone that properly manages the swarm, you have what we had.
Mitch, you are cutting out on us again.
Prior
Just
to
so you know.
who ran. Okay, can you hear me now?
I believe so, but you still
Okay.
have a little yellow icon next to your name. It's not red, though.
Oh, now it's good.
Okay, so if I'm gonna briefly just touch upon everything I said because I don't know how much you guys missed. Swarm of bees, fucking chaos, which is why you need fucking someone to manage it. And as funny as the analogy is, coming into the pirate party is literally like a swarm of bees. It is a literal swarm. It is the best word to describe what is happening. And before me, I don't know who was the swarm care manager. I don't know if there was a swarm care manager ever elected before me. But I know in my position, I realized just how important it was. When I first ran for these offices, I ran for lookout and I ran for swarm care manager, and I had to choose which one I wanted. And to this day, I'm glad I chose swarm care manager. I think that that's a role that should not ever again remain vacant. And luckily, we won't have any more roles remain vacant. But I think that that is one, especially if handled right, can be one of the most important positions on the board. And I hope to continue, whether it's me or whether it's me supporting whoever the swarm care manager is. I hope to continue to build upon the importance of the swarm care manager. And that is why the swarm needs care.
Okay, thank you, Mitch. Rowan said they will be back soon, and I guess we can save a few more, hard-hitting questions for the end of this swarm care debate when Rowan is back. Is there anything else that we talked about with Rowan, Yari, that you can remember that we still need to get Mitch's input on?
Off the top of my head, no, not really.
Okay. Okay, then we can. Oh, V.
Yes, and I remember that we all talked at this question on Wednesday. It was talking about our time and schedules, and I'm gonna look up the wording. Do you have the document open, AJ?
Which document?
It's called the candidate forum questions.
Oh, yes, I have it open right now.
Right. There's a question that was it's called, I think it was under chair, but it was talking about how you plan to manage your, I can't remember the exact
Oh,
words.
yes. I know the question. Do we want to
Because we did ask Rowan that question last week. I mean, yeah, technically
Yes, we
during
can.
the
Yeah,
week.
sure. All right. Yes, I have it right here. So, Mitch, the captain is often the first person looked to for answers. That part doesn't qualify. Let's see. Where do we find? Oh, yeah, here we go. So, how are you going to delegate and balance pirate work with all of your other needs?
Could you repeat that question one more time?
Yes. The question is, it is a portion of a broader question that might get re-brought up in the chair and vice chair debate. I'm not sure. But the portion of the question that V wants to ask you is, how are you going to manage, or I suppose, continue to manage your pirate work with all of your other needs and continue your work-life piracy balance? How could you maybe improve that balance?
Well, I recently started a new job, which has admittedly been taking up a lot of my time. However, the new job put me low man on the totem pole. As I continue to stay at this job, I'm going to rank higher. Plus, I'm earning PTO. I would be able to take PTO in the future whenever it's needed. If we have, like, next year, I will be able to dedicate an entire week to the Pirate National Conference, and I would be able to get paid the entire time for it. In terms of what I'm doing now, I don't think the Pirate Party schedule and my schedule necessarily conflict, other than the fact that I can't attend things such as platform committee or outreach committee, which the captain doesn't necessarily, or the outreach, or the swarm care rather, doesn't need to be necessarily in attendance. They just have to know what is going on at the meetings. So the only thing I can say is, no matter what position I'm elected to, it's just a matter of open communication and making sure that everyone's in communication with one another to make sure that everything is operating at the highest level possible.
Okay, thank you, Drew. And Rowan is back, so we can get to our question here. Let me.
I am Mitch.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mitch. The regular slip of the tongue. You know I know that you're not Drew. Probably.
I know all bald white men look the same to you. It's okay.
Look, it's not my fault that there's a pirate phenotype.
You'll get there one day.
Okay. All right, Mitch, Rowan. I'll go ahead and ask Rowan first. How will you make an environment within the part? Wait. This is a very strange question. Give me a moment. I will separate the word make with create, and it makes a little bit more sense. How will you create an environment within the party that is both known and welcoming to people who are new to the movement?
You said, what was the first word? Something in welcoming?
Yes, how will you create an environment that is both, known, like people are aware of it, and also welcoming to people in the party?
So the known aspect, I guess, really is just talking about like interacting with people in general. I guess we can say online. I don't personally have Twitter. I got it back for a few seconds, but then I deleted it again because I personally just do not like Twitter. But interacting with people online via other means, but also interacting with people in person. I truly think stuff like tabling will get our I don't like the term brand, but I don't know any other better word, but our brand known, having people come up to the table and us talk about our experiences and our beliefs and our platform and our history, that will get us known. And that's the known aspect, like having our community be known by people, is having more presence in people's daily lives by doing these things that most people interact with, as such as a table sometimes. Now for the welcoming aspect, in relation to that, I just mean I like pirate chat a lot, so I give credit to everyone who participates and hosts the party chat, the pirate chat. I think that's one of the main methods of creating welcoming communities, having a casual formats like that where people can come in and just talk about their lives and talk about their experiences and not feel like they have to be a political science major to participate in the party. They can just be regular people who are just like, oh, hey, today was shit, or today was awesome. I did this, I did that, or, relate experiences. I think Pirate Chat's a really good example of that, but also just keeping the party professional, but also community-based, and treating it like a family. Because we're the great thing I like about the fact that this party is not huge is the fact that we still are a good enough size where we can at least know one another to a good extent, so we can feel comfortable being in the same community and communicate things more transparently. And I think that's one aspect that I appreciate personally about this party, is that it's very open and very accepting overall to all walks of life. And I want to keep it that way by any means necessary, by inviting new perspectives, by encouraging people to meet new people and talk about the pirate party, and inviting people who aren't even members of the pirate party to the pirate chat to get acquainted with our community overall. But yeah, that's my answer. I'll also say that, family is important. So I was gone for about a good 10 minutes or so because I called my nano and I was telling him happy birthday. He's quite old now, but he's family to me, right? And so I guess what I'm saying is that the pirate party also has to be a family, someone and some people, a group of people, not someone individual, but a group of people that you care about and want to, make sure are good. And I think Pirate Chat's that format of making sure everyone is good.
All right. Thank you. I think Mitch still has to answer. Do you need me to repeat the question? Mitch, did we lose you?
Yes, please.
All right. I'll repeat the question for you, Mitch. The question is, how will you create an environment, or I guess maintain, continue to
Yes,
create since you're
please.
the
Repeat
incumbent?
the question, please.
Yes. How will you create an environment within the party, or I guess in your sense, maintain or continue to create since you're the incumbent? Create an environment within the party that is both known to the public and welcoming to people who are new to the movement.
I think at that point it's just a matter of imagery. You have to promote the national party as the party of free and open, which is what we already are. I think it's just a matter of really making sure that that image is brought to the forefront. I think pirates rather, have always fought for free and open, as I mentioned in the Cave and Rock video. And I think if we really promote that idea, every now and again you see a political party strike gold with their messaging. A few years back, the Libertarians, when they ran in 2016, had their whole taxation is theft mantra, which, I mean, it was catchy. It got people hooked. It literally, people paid attention to the party. And I'm not saying the party of free and open is necessarily that, but I'm saying that if we can promote something and make sure that people recognize us when they see us, I want them to automatically think of something. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a overwhelmingly positive thing. I just want us to be in the collective consciousness of people. And I would hope it to be an overwhelmingly positive thing, because I would like us to be viewed as overwhelmingly positive. But as long as people know who we are, I think they will see that we are a party that is willing to accept everybody, and that we are, with the exception of bigots and fascists. And as long as you are willing to commit to a free and open culture in society, you are willing to commit to the pirate code and ideals, then to me, you'll do just fine in the pirate party. And we welcome all. We have a open door policy. So anyone who thinks that this is the party for you, it's just a matter of getting more people to question, is this the party for them?
Thank you, Mitch. I do believe that we are probably running out of steam for the swarm care debate unless anyone has any other questions. Is there anything we should insert here, or should we ask both candidates for sort of a wrap-up statement? We'll give everyone a moment to rack their brains and also check chat.
Wrapping up makes sense to me.
Okay. All right. Mitch, we'll go to you first. I'm going to give you. I guess we'll start the clock again just to keep everyone on track. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes for a closing statement. Are you ready? 3. Oh, I guess I should ask if you're actually ready.
Yep, ready, Freddie.
All right. Go.
If I get reelected swarm care manager, I would be a position that I've had for the last 2 years, and a position I'll continue to take pride in. I think we still have a lot of growth that comes from the swarm care position, but that is to not ignore the fact that there has been a tremendous amount of growth for the swarm care position over the last 2 years that I've held this position. Should you put me back, I hope to continue on that growth. Should you put someone else in this place, I'd be more than happy to assist them and make sure that the swarm care manager role continues to grow with or without me in that position. But if you put me in that position, you can be guaranteed that it will be ran the right way.
All right. Thank you, Mitch. Rowan, are you ready?
How long do we have, or do I have?
I was going to give you about 2 minutes.
Okay, that works. I'm ready.
Do you want longer? I mean,
2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, 2 minutes is fine. I hope you enjoy the jazz.
I do enjoy the jazz.
That's not me providing that, but hopefully I can see some more votes. No, But let me first of all read my fortune that I got from my fortune cookie.
All
At
right.
20 years of age, the will reigns. At 30, the wit. At 40, the judgments. I have no idea what that means, but I thought it sounded really smart. But I'll start with this. I appreciate that I even got considered for this role. Like whoever nominated me, I appreciate that you did that. Um, I will still say that I think Mitch is more fit for this role than myself. But of course, I'd like to also see Mitch as chair or vice chair. So of course, if you can't fill either of those roles, I would of course love to fill the Swarm Care Manager role because I feel like I do have the ability to realize what that's all about in action quite quickly. You know, I think I'm the type of person that if someone puts something in front of me and makes it clear, I'll put all my effort into it. I can't promise I'll be 100% successful, nor can I promise I will be to the same level as Mitch. But I can promise you that if I am put into this role, I'll put in my energy into it, and try to learn the most I can to make sure that the Pirate Party overall is a healthy community, a welcoming community, and overall, just a family. Yeah, that's the word, family. That's what I'm going to finish off with. If I'm put in that role, I will try my best to make the Pirate Party a family. Not that it already isn't, but to maintain that and expand that more so. So yeah, thank you for considering me, and Mitch for chair 2023.
All right. Thank you, Rowan, and thank you both for participating in this little debate. If you all are good, then that means I need to hand the reins to Yari, because the next thing that is going to happen is our chair vice chair debate, and I cannot chair my own chair debate.
You can't chair your own chair debate?
I can't chair my own chair debate.
I have you ever tried to chair a chair?
I mean,
That's why I buy stackables.
Exactly.
exactly. You are so true, Drew. All right, enough gallivanting around the ship. I am going
Love
to
gallivanting
hand
around.
this over to Yari.
Gallivanting around it. You don't gallivant around a ship. You gallivant around a maypole.
I don't know. I like gallivanting up the rigging personally.
Is that you can do? I'd be impressed if I saw somebody do that.
Yeah, well,
Gallivant.
prepare to be impressed. Anyway,
Okay.
okay. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to a very intense debate between the forces of different pirates. It's not good and evil. It's nothing so simple as that. No. For here at the Pirate Party of the United States, we indulge in much more interesting matters. Things morally good, but gray in the sense of there is no way to tell who has the right answer or the wrong answer. We are not a group of simple binary divisions. No, none of that. We are a group of many diverse opinions. And so here at this debate, this discussion, this forum, we shall have many questions that will be answered by many people. That is usually the way that works. And you, the people who are watching, hopefully, will have the chance later on this evening to vote based on your thoughts, based on who you feel is most fit for, or has, maybe fit isn't even the right word, right? Has the qualifications that you feel align most effectively with your vision of the party. It's a difficult choice. It's a difficult choice. Because you have to figure out what your idea of the party is. I don't know. Like, I have my own idea of the party. What is your idea of the party? I mean, I want to know about that too. Get in the comments. Get in the comments. But for now, we're going to start asking some questions. Matthew is hopefully going to be here soon so that we can get a more broad discussion. All of our vice chair, first officer folk. In the meantime, I do have questions for those who are here. And I think I just want to kick it off. When Matthew gets here. And things get started. That's fine. But right now, we got Mitch. We got Drew. We got V. We got AJ. And all four of those people, incredible pirates, incredible candidates who have worked very hard to help propel this organization. There is a reason they have all been nominated to vice chair. So, I got some questions for y'all. Here we go. I made a list.
Oh no.
AJ asked me. AJ was like, hey, bring it. And I said, okay. So here we go. My first question for you all. Here's actually the real difficulty as like a moderator of a thing is always what order do I go in? I don't know, because I feel like order does actually make a difference. Anyway, okay, I'm an academic. I'm gonna stop. We're just gonna go. I'm just gonna go back and forth. So I'm gonna go Mitch, Drew, V, AJ, and then I'm gonna go back around that, and then I'm probably gonna change it up after that. Okay. So Mitch, I'm starting with you. Uh-oh. Who did we just lose?
Rowan.
We just lost Rowan. That's fine. Rowan is not a part of this discussion, but could be. I don't know. Mitch.
Ahoy.
Hello. Where are you driving? Actually, unrelated question. Where are you driving from and where are you driving to? That is not the question I had prepared.
Fantastic question. I am driving from Zanesville, Ohio, which
Why?
is on the border of the Ohio River so the Ohio and West Virginia border. Not on the river, but like 90 minutes from it. Did you know West Virginia borders Ohio?
Yes.
As someone who doesn't live in the region, I don't think I actually knew that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that trips people up. Drew obviously is the expert from Pennsylvania. He knew better.
I've driven through a lot of those states, and let me tell you, Virginia is not for lovers. It is forever. It is forever. Yeah. Virginia, you drive south once you get out of Pennsylvania, you hit a couple of states, and then all of a sudden it's Virginia for hours and hours and hours. And then, just sorry, it was a traumatic trip that we had to New Orleans.
I understand. Mitch, my question for you, and shortly for other folks. This position is, all of these positions are a lot of work. You've done a lot of work. What is the boundary between volunteer and paid work, especially as it relates to pirate stuff?
I'm sorry, can you say that question one more time?
Yeah. What is the boundary between volunteer and paid work, especially as it relates to pirate stuff? Or a shorter version of that, when does this become paid? And how?
I don't ever expect to be paid for this. I feel as though that this is a voluntary position and that we have all joined this party voluntarily. I think monetary rewards are meaningless. We can get monetary rewards in any aspect of life. What we're here for is electoral success. So as long as we can achieve that, I will do this for free forever if it means that.
Okay. Okay. Drew, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Oh yeah, no, this doesn't ever become a paid gig.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
I mean, like,
can't get.
as sort of part of that, I'm curious a little bit, and I think anyone can really jump in. I want this to be a discussion, but I am going to sort of shift my focus, right? Mitch, Drew, V, you're on deck, AJ. But as part of this, I guess I'm curious why. You know,
Why
isn't this ever going to be?
because I don't. Well, so okay, we need. So it's everything that's volunteer is volunteer. I think you get the best work out of volunteers. Although at some point, once you're growing so much and you're raising a certain amount of funds, there is then a maintenance that kind of comes with that. That's a lot more routine work that comes with that. That's more routine office work that comes with that. So if you want to maintain a high level of donations, that in turn is going to cost money. Usually because the people that would do it voluntarily are going to burn out rapidly. That's where you end up having paid people to do more of like clerical work. You know, people to answer phones, people to handle create and handle mailings, things like that, or any physical distribution of any kind of material, or handling of anything. Like if you get once you get big enough to have your own merch store that isn't outsourced, because at some point it makes sense to just buy t-shirts printed in bulk, rather than on the fly, because you'll get more per unit that way. But you know, it is a matter of size at which then you start considering having employees. And when I say having an employee, I mean somebody who is a regular hourly employee. Something like an executive director can also be a paid position, but those positions are usually they're usually paid on a contingency basis, and there's some sort of formula that goes with how that person gets their compensation. So if your goal is to drive donations, you know, they more or less will get a cut of the amount of donations that they bring in, and so it doesn't become a day-to-day. It's a way you can start to have a paid executive director. But as far as like board seats go, any elected internal party, I mean, you'd have to be, as far as I'm concerned, you'd have to be as big as like the Democrats or Republicans. You'd have to be a major political party in this country before I think any of those are paid positions, or what I consider probably are full time. They take a full time. They take full time, so they should be compensated as a full time position. But
sure.
So that's my take on that.
Thank you. V. I'm gonna pivot slightly here, and similar question, but I want to know how, you know, if we're not sorry, words are failing me all of a sudden. In this sort of distinction between paying volunteers versus not paying volunteers, how can we ensure that you know, like when we choose to pay our volunteers, when we choose not to pay our volunteers, especially as we grow bigger, what is your feelings around or what are your feelings around maintaining a sort of volunteer base, especially with regards to what Drew just said?
Well, what Drew is saying is not necessarily what I'm envisioning in terms of like the United States Pirate
I
Party
would love for you to
paying
elaborate on that.
volunteers in any organization. And while Drew was elaborating, I had to look up the DNC, the Democrat National Convention Committee, and Jamie Harrison. And some of these websites are saying that he gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. I'm not saying that the U.S. Pirate Party is going to pay any board member $100,000 plus per year. That's not. It's not what we're doing. We're not into lobbying. We're not the party that lobbies and believes in money and politics. Yeah, that's the big draw of why I'm here. But what I do see is I see the efforts, and I see that economically, when I think of when the Pirate Party will pay volunteers, they would pay stipends. I have a big conflict with volunteerism and unpaid work in the United States. Oftentimes, a lot of organizations say, "Oh, you're an artist. You do this for exposure." Well, exposure to the elements kills people every year in the United States for whether it's too hot or too cold, heating and cooling, and that's wrong. That's just wrong. In terms of when the United States Pirate Party can start paying volunteers or how to pay volunteers, I think that's a good step for the future. Not today, maybe not within the next year as vice chair, or since I am also candidate for chair. And here's why. I believe strongly that um, there is minimal ways that an organization can stay volunteer run, and in those ways everything needs to be documented, quote unquote documented, and that's like very anti-privacy. It's just for like clerics, and we're a nonprofit. um, but legally, if we have like a volunteer sheet, volunteer hours no more than a certain amount of hours that does not impede a volunteer from holding and this is going to sound terrible, very corporate, but whatever volunteer hours that a volunteer gives to the party should not exceed or impede upon that volunteer having a full-time job. That's not even living wage. This is not even, minimum wage, but a full-time job, which is not even living wage in the United States at the moment. So yeah, the original question that you asked, the candidates is, when do we become a paid organization for volunteers? And that's hard to know because that would take, as Drew has elaborated, that would take a lot of staff to continue funding the party. Um, and I don't think we're quite there yet. And that's fine. I do understand that a lot of us are in we have been nominated because we do spend quite a number of hours. Um,
Yeah.
I want to ask the rest of the candidates a question about you know how do we see the time that we spend, but also know that Mitch wants to elaborate also on the question. I don't know, Yari, what you want to ask Mitch.
Well, yeah. So, V, can you, before I move on to the other folks, you said, yeah. What was the question you wanted to ask? How do folks see the time we spent?
Right,
What do you mean?
what, yeah, the time that we spend as volunteers, how do you see that, or what, like, and I want to add that I'm asking this questions of how do you see your time as a volunteer in the United States Pirate Party, in terms of like, is it fun, is it life-giving, is it burnout is real? Is it just a chore because you believe in change? I would love to see or love to hear more of others' motivations. And a question that we ask a lot in other circles is, what is your why? Like, what motivates you to continue um, this work that we do?
Thank you for that. I'm gonna add that to one of my other questions because these there a few of them are very related. So thank you. That's good. I appreciate that angle. AJ, I want to get to you, and then Mitch, I want to give you, you're on deck because I want to give you a chance to kind of elaborate a bit more if you'd like.
Okay, so Yari, could you repeat the question again, just so I know exactly?
Yeah,
what I'm-
absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's sort of evolved as well, right? And in that sense, you're welcome to respond to anything Drew or V or Mitch have said, because I think this is an ongoing discussion. But at the same time, the general gist of the question is really when, the original question was, when do positions here, when do volunteer positions here become paid? And in that sense, what I'm asking about is, how do we, as an organization, sort of navigate the boundary between paid positions and volunteer positions, just generally?
Okay, I think the first thing I want to say is just generally to get this out of the way and to second some other sentiments. I will never ask to be compensated for the position of chair or any other officer position. I think that is immediately starts to get into some gray areas with how money is involved with other things, with politics, and I just think that's a step too far. I don't know if I would even view that as a appropriate compensation because of what some of these positions are doing. I mean, if you chair a meeting, it would be like paying one of your state representatives, right? I mean, then we just have the situation where, Congress can always vote to raise how much money every member of Congress is given every year. I don't think that that's an appropriate boundary. I do think that there are ways to get around that. And when I say ways to get around that, I mean, for anything, even with these staff positions, with this menial labor stuff that Drew was talking about, I don't know if I ever really want to use the traditional model of compensation. Maybe for some things we'll have to, and it would be a smart idea. But V brought up stipends. I don't know what the laws are with all of this stuff. I don't know how possible this is. But something that comes to my mind is, can we just compensate people directly for the menial work done? Like, can we say, hey, this stuff needs done? If we need this done, can we pay you? Like that? Yeah, I don't know if 2-hour contract work is a thing. I don't know how all of that works. I'm not very economically literate in that sense. I don't know the laws, but I would definitely love to use these experiment with these alternative systems, because we do at the same point in time, even though money in politics is bad, and we can all agree that we want to prevent that. The thing about unpaid labor is also real. I sink a lot of time to this organization. We all do. And if we're going to have someone come around and do menial labor for us at Pirate HQ, then we need to respect them as an equal and compensate them a heck of a lot, right? Or else we're just committing the same sin that we fault our systems that we have right now for doing. So we need to come up with a solution to this. I'm just wondering, it feels like we're saying off the bat, oh, we're going to run into a point where we have to do things the traditional way. I think that's possible. I don't think we should give up right now. I don't know what's out there. I don't know what's possible. So let's keep all of our cards on the table, especially since all of the ways that we do things, we basically do none of it traditionally. And I think I have to I personally have had to remind everyone of that sometimes, because everyone wants to push for doing things even less and less and less traditionally. And there have been times where I've had to step in and say, hey, we already do this very radically democratically, like nobody else ever does. We have chair elections every year. Nobody else does that. So let's not be too hard on ourselves. Let's not assume that we're going to have to take an L here, or that we're going to have to do things the super traditional way. Let's just abide by our values and see what happens. That's my answer.
Cool. Thank you, AJ. Mitch, I want to give you a chance to elaborate and or respond to other folks? Same ideas. How do we navigate that sort of line between paid and unpaid positions?
So let me just say that, and V, I believe it was you that brought it up, saying how do you differentiate like a volunteer versus someone maybe more involved? We're all pirates. It's truly that simple. The second you say I'm going to dedicate a minute of my time to the United States Pirate Party, and if you are committed to dedicating that minute, then as far as I'm concerned, you're a pirate. And the more minutes you dedicate, fantastic. But I would never ask anyone to dedicate their hard-earned money or their valuable time. I would only ask them to do it if it is something they truly wanted to do. So when we're talking about volunteer positions versus paid positions, I'm of the opinion that if you want to get paid, we got to get pirates to office, and you can be on their staff.
Well said. Okay. Thank you, Mitch. I want to move on. Thank you all. Very thoughtful responses. I want to move on to a totally different topic, but we will come back to some of the ideas that were brought up in this. Worry not. We're going to switch gears a whole bunch here. And I want to ask you all about pirate. One of the core ideas, one of the core principles, sort of, that floats around in pirate circles, and is really part of our core ideals, which is connected with intellectual property, connected with these ideas of copyright reform and patent reform or abolishment. Abolish patents, which is oftentimes as this sort of younger party connected with these ideas of copyright. We are having to look at ways to give me 1 second, actually. Yeah, okay. I guess here's where I'm going with this. I just shifted direction in my head. I love this. Okay. I do have a list, but sometimes you got to update it. IP law is changing. And or more accurately, it's not, but IP understandings are changing. And internationally, it's starting to change a little bit. So here's my question, I guess, for all of you, right? And I want to start with Drew, and then I'm going to ask Mitch to be on deck. But what I want to ask here is a little bit of, should our focus remain on these IP concerns? And if so, to what degree? And what, especially with regards our messaging, right? How do we go about balancing the questions of, like, are we a one-issue party versus our, I think, shared and deep concern for what can become a very limiting force on the internet?
So I think we should maintain our position, and not just maintain our position, but maintain that priority, which is basically all of these electronic freedoms. I call it electronic freedoms because we're losing privacy. That's going the wrong way in general. IP is, the DMCA is garbage. and other online things are going the wrong way. We need to be a watchdog on free speech on the internet, especially because we're, I mean, when an eccentric billionaire can buy out one of the largest pieces of communication that we have, because we have this, all this is collective communication anymore. I mean, Facebook and Twitter are two of the biggest communities that have ever existed. With as many users as they have. We need to be on YouTube for anything it does with censorship or gatekeeping, things like that. We need to be on board with the Algorithmic Justice League and how algorithms, which are basically just rudimentary AI systems, have built-in biases, and I think that's very bad. And those things generally will hurt people of color and women, just because of the way that they've been trained. So I think there is so much in the battle for freedom and liberty in the virtual or electronic space right now, and there's a lot of room for us to be advocates there, and I think that is on brand for us. I think we're in general a true more liberation party altogether, but the modern digital pirate theme for us really does just go to freedom and transparency from government, and the same goes for the big corporate space. So I think it's on our brand, and I think we should stay that way.
Thank you, Drew. I want to ask a follow-up question, actually.
Oh, and I forgot to mention right to repair.
Yeah.
Right to repair is a huge one. And that's another one. This is digital freedom that is, because it's mostly these companies with technology that are putting in blocks, and I think also freedom to hack a device that you own should also be is going to be an emerging space, as some of these car companies that soft block things,
Yes.
that are in your car but are turned off unless you pay a fee, or sometimes a subscription fee, which I think is just
the
ridiculous.
subscription fee for heated seats. Love that one.
Yeah, that's
so we, as an organization, you said something along these lines, I'm paraphrasing you, are for our digital liberation, right? And I guess conversely, where do you see that? You illustrated some cases where you see that sort of enmeshed with our liberation as peoples. And I guess what I'm curious about as well is what sort of in terms of that, what our focus should be. If we have to make a priority of something, are we focusing on digital liberation? Are we focusing on liberation of the peoples as bodies? Are we focusing on what should our focus be in this realm?
I think in general, the focus on the digital liberation is probably the place that we can be the most influential moving in these next few years as things develop. I think there are more opportunities for massive abuses and loss of freedom in these areas. And I think there's also opportunities to claw some of it back, where in other areas, it ends up becoming that there's a lot of things that end up becoming a lot of fights that are not as easy to get people on board with if you're not already on board with the answer. I think a lot of people have pretty set ideas on things like abortion and gun control and I don't think we don't have any novel takes on the old stuff that I'm really aware of right now that would give us a reason to be vocal on that. I think we're good on all of those issues. I think we're on the good side of all of those issues, but I don't think I think where our focus should be is in the digital liberation space, and that I think is where we can be novel and we can be knowledgeable, and we are on the side of freedom and liberation, and to become free from these overreaching, overbearing laws on copyright, on digital freedoms, such as in the surveillance space. Because let's not forget, surveillance is not just from governments. It's all of these corporations that are amassing massive databases on each and every one of us.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Thank you. Mitch, I said you were on deck, and so I want to jump to you as well. And then AJ, you're on deck next. Mitch, I want to ask you, so same sort of question, which is basically to say, in this changing and in this rapidly changing and difficult time, it's a phrasing, in this rapidly changing realm of not only IP law but also digital liberation, as Drew put it, what should our focus be? And also specifically in thinking about balancing the desire of us as pirates for this kind of front of digital liberation, and yet also trying to pull back from, maybe not pull back from, I don't know if that's the right phrasing, but pull back from our perception as a one-issue party. How do you see us navigating that? Mitch, do we have you?
He is unmuted, so.
I know, I saw that. Ooh, bad connection. What?
Oh, he's back.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yes. Maybe. If you're still talking, I can't hear you anymore.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but Mitch, how about I jump to AJ and hopefully your signal gets better?
Well, hang on. I'm green bar.
Okay.
I can get this out really quickly.
Sure.
Basically, as I stated before, we are every type of pirate, and that includes patent pirates. Removing that from our platform would be a mistake. I think the only thing we should be doing with our platform, something we haven't done and something we should work towards doing, is every either year or 6 months, look at our platform and figure out a way to update the wording. I don't think removing what has made key aspects of our platform and made us who we are as pirates, I think removing that would be a mistake. I also believe that in the mid-20th century, upon decolonization, neocolonialism took full force. And one part of neocolonialism that people don't ever think about is information colonization. Like, instead of colonizing land, they are colonizing our information, and they're trying to get in our minds, and they're trying to get our information. They're trying to, if you can't colonize physical aspects, they are now trying to colonize in aspects of our lives that aren't even material. You know, you can't show someone your name. You can tell someone your name. That is like the one time I genuinely believe intellectual property exists. Things that are yours, that are indisputably yours. You can't say this idea is mine. I had it first. Nothing is new under the sun. But you could say, hey, that's my face. Hey, that's my name. And as we look towards like AI, that's especially going to be a big deal. So while I don't believe intellectual property in terms of idea exists, I do believe in intellectual property in terms of things that are undeniably yours, such as your name, your face, your information, like that. So yeah, absolutely not. We should not be considering removing it. If anything, we should be doubling down.
Okay. Thank you. AJ, same sort of thing, especially with regards to navigating. You know, I know that you've had to manage some of this, the perception that we are, you know, only this one issue party, still lingering on, but it's finally, you know, it feels like we're finally starting to break away from that. And I think, you know, Mitch and Drew, what they're saying here of this is a very salient issue and we need to kind of double down on it and be cognizant of it. It sounds, at least to me, it makes a lot of sense. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. And also specifically, if we are to, you know, if that angle of it makes sense to you, if you feel that we also do need to reinforce this position, I guess I kind of want to pivot a little bit here and ask how we might share that, like how we might go about branding that, essentially.
Sure. I guess I'll start by saying, no, I don't believe these planks should be going anywhere. It is a salient issue, and I do think that everything in terms of our identity regarding tech is very important, and we're going to find even more places to sneak in with that angle, right? I mean, we can talk about, you know, AI, you know, big social media companies, anything. We still have all sorts of avenues to dig in, but also at the same time, screw copyright. Many of our beliefs came from that sphere, and that's fine. That means we'll always have those beliefs, and it informed, I think, great core values. But we became, as soon as 2008, 2009, it didn't take very long. We're a humanist movement. I didn't come here for copyright. I came here to be part of an organization that has the core values that we do. I recruited people, a lot of people, on other ideas. The ideas that we could be some kind of, you know, that we have things to offer for left libertarians. There are people that come to us now because they want, you know, maybe a more pragmatic place to express, you know, more leftist style views. And there are a bunch of other categories that I could draw in here. People coming from other walks of life to then say, hey, I want to sort of give up this other thing I've had going on to become a pirate. People come to us for all sorts of different things, and we're recruiting people from a bunch of different spheres. And if you look at other successful pirate parties, they've moved on in a sense. The Czech pirates did not win off of copyright. They won because they were basically the only progressive, socially liberal party in Czechia, because it's Czechia. And that's not to say anything bad about Czechia, but Eastern Europe, it has some issues, right? And that's how they won. That's how they marketed themselves. That's what people love about the Czech pirates. We have this new humanist brand to build, and I think instead of being a one-issue party, we should be a party that acknowledges our history, acknowledges the things that make us special, and really fully embrace this idea that I do think other pirate parties have embraced of using those original single issues to inform the core values, then taking those core values and turning it into a whole, you know, it's kind of ideology almost. I mean, we don't even like the word ideology, but you know what I mean. I think the pirate wheel has it right. We start with empowerment, we turn it into core values that have things to do with copyright and stuff like that, and then we turn it into a bunch of other policy positions, right? And if you go back to where we started, we didn't start with copyright. We started with internet culture. We started with uh, hacker ethics and the way people conduct themselves online. We started with in terms of the humanism stuff. I mean, we did also inherit some of the more savory, less weird parts of new atheism and that sphere too. I mean, we were an internet movement from the start, not a copyright movement. We were the people that took forward these brand new perspectives, this new way of looking at the world that was created in the 90s and the early 2000s because of the internet. That is our legacy, and it's already a very holistic legacy. I think that when we think about ourselves like the past is we're just copyright,
Yeah.
we're missing like the 5 other things that we were founded on. I don't think anyone has joined this party just for copyright. Maybe that's a bit of a hyperbolic claim to make, but
Yeah.
I don't think anyone in 2006 joined this party just for copyright. I think they joined it because we're a solid humanist movement that has things to offer that they don't see anything else like us offering, and that's my stance.
Thank you. Mitch, is it a direct response? Because I want to give V a chance for him to talk. Whoop. Mitch, you're cutting out again.
I would rather be comment first.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Oh, okay. You would rather V comment first. Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you. V. You've heard the extensive discussion from the rest of the group. And I want to give you a chance to put your own spin on this. I guess the only additional sort of directive I would give, or direction I would point you in with this question, other than, again, like, we're thinking about how we can move forward as a party when we have this history of being branded, not by our own folks, but by others, as a sort of one issue party, and then trying to navigate that, and then also caring a lot about these very core issues. My question is that, and then also a little specifically, how how you might see this as your in the role of vice chair or in the role of chair, carrying out over the next year, how hang on one second, sorry, trying to figure out the wording for this. Many of the difficulties that we've seen recently with regards to the things that Drew was talking about, right, digital liberation, have been in part because of corporate issues, and more than part, really. And so I guess I'm curious for you, taking us forward again, what are your thoughts on the other respondents, and where would your focus be? Would it be on sort of addressing the legal aspects of this, or would it be addressing the corporate aspects of this, or something else entirely?
Yes, multiple things to respond to. That first question, are we a one issue party, or how do we do how do I see either a chair role or a vice chair role seeing the party responding to what the world thinks of us. I want to start off with saying that I'm not, the difficulties about this election is that we're all on the same page. But the nuances are there. In my experience growing up on the internet, I grew up on the internet. I did not have parents taking care of me. I did not learn how to cook from a cookbook. I learned how to cook on the internet. So but in knowing all that now, I want to add that there is no revolution without the human. And so this human aspect of who we are as a party starts with copyright, with IP, intellectual property. As humans, we
Sorry,
pride
I
ourselves.
hate to interrupt. Can I quote you on my thesis really quick from that?
Yes, yes.
Amazing, thank you.
It's recorded. You can even cite the YouTube video. Intellectual property is the beginning of the end. We have the biggest rock band in history. The beginning of the end. This is what is that quote? The world is. I will remember it later. But here's where I differ in intellectual property is the beginning of the end, in as far as the beginning where it's not about the movies we can download. It's not about the books we don't want to pay for. It's not about, the Pikachu that I want to draw and call my own. It's about having a voice. It's about being a person. There is no revolution without the human, and the human is this the one issue of the United States Pirate Party is that we're a party of civil liberties and human rights. I've said that multiple times, and I'll say it again. Civil liberties and human rights. Our human rights to not tolerate, to not stand by, and to not let corporations lock our phones, lock our cars, lock our computers is a human right. It's a civil liberty. For us in this new age and day, we are the party of the internet where we have more people working remote than not. There should be no reason why my computer should be locked to do other things outside of work during work hours. My computer is not a property of my employer. It is not me. If my computer on the background wants to do whatever it wants to do because I told it to do so, that has nothing to do with my employer, has nothing to do with my mode of making a business, of making a life for myself and being a good employee. So these ideas, these corporate wise, liberty wise. Remember the '90s. Remember the 2000s. You wouldn't download a car. Yes, you will download a car. Actually, you will download a whole house. You will download the instructions on Open AI or any other. There's Brad. There's all these AI instances who will teach you how to cook, who will write your code, who will help you learn about gender injustice. um so yeah, that the how do I see that as either chair or vice chair? It's just that empowerment of, like, go big. We're on the internet right now, but I am a real person in a very real world with very real needs and very real insecurities. And our government forgets that. The corporations that pay into our government only care about the money. To not get too long winded, because I love this stuff. When we look at the Industrial Revolution, we forget, there was an agricultural revolution. When we look at the agricultural revolution, we forget we were just hunter gatherers. And before then, we forget about evolution. We forget about biology. We forget that we are very real instances in this world. And right now we're virtually, that's great. We get to connect. I remember very distinctly in the early 2010s. Wow, now I feel old. In the early 2010s, I remember very distinctly sitting in my home in Texas, dark outside, everyone's asleep, the internet is on. I'm not alone anymore, the internet is on. And Egypt was rising. The sun
Yeah.
was rising in Egypt, and I was there in the little screen on the corner because I was also doing work and as an international designer, but it was there in the corner because your computer does things all the time. It was there and I was with them.
Yeah.
That is the power of the internet. Corporations, the government officials don't don't want to believe in that we're real people.
Mhm.
And I think that's what we're doing. That's why we all volunteer here. That's why we're here. I want to believe that.
Mhm. Cool. Thank you so much. Uh, um, Mitch, I want to give you a chance to do a follow up, and before that, I just want to genuinely say, uh, you all, I admire all of you. Thank you for continuously sharing your thoughts and your work. Mitch, give me that follow up.
It was just kind of a comment on AJ's humanist view and kind of not really taking the copyright stance as the factor that make people look at the party. Uh, the Swedish Pirate Party, the very first one in existence, was formed after the Pirate Bay raid. As a result of the Pirate Bay raid, it was formed, and all the people that started focusing on the Pirate Party of Sweden being formed, including the United States Pirate Party, the second one in history, was because of the issue of copyright and patent. And if we ignore it, or if we look past it, or if we downplay it, we are doing a disservice to the party. I think that as a proprietor of a free and open society, the United States Pirate Party has a obligation to call out anything that infringes on a free and open society. And I think that copyright and patents are some of the easiest things to tackle. And while it is something that may not be the most exciting for a lot of people, just because something isn't prevalent in the news doesn't make it any less important.
Yeah,
so if
for sure.
we walk away from it, I think it would be one of the biggest mistakes we can make as a party. I think it's something we have to, even if it's not something we're pushing to the forefront, the fact that it's the top of our platform page, that is exactly where it belongs.
AJ, hit me with that response.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna hit you with a response. Absolutely right. I don't want it to be gone from the top of the platform page. I don't want us to bury it. I don't want us to do anything like that. But when it comes to how we present ourselves, our holistic image, yeah, I do just think it's part of something greater, right? And I don't know how many times I'd place it of greater importance than some of these other things I think are just as important. I mean, you mentioned the Swedish Pirate Party. Yes, that happened, and it's how we all got started. But how's the Swedish Pirate Party doing today? I'm pretty sure it's sort of been on a bit of a decline. Maybe not doing terrible, but definitely a decline. Then how do we? And then let's look at the German pirates. Let's look at the Czech pirates. Let's look at some of these pirates that have really been still trying to put up a pretty good fight here and have been doing a decent job, especially the Czech pirates, the Icelandic pirates. And I think we'll see that they've taken an approach that I would agree with, and that none of that had anything to do with putting copyright in the background. It had all the more to do with embracing these human aspects. So no, I'm not going to waver on that because I'm not saying that we should be getting rid of it or lessening its importance. I'm saying that there are other things that are just as important, and I think that if we don't embrace that sooner rather than later, I think we could end up in trouble again. And I think a good way to do that is probably to A good way to do that is to expand this to digital rights as a whole and keep talking about that. But again, I'm not saying that we give any of that up. I'm just saying that we incorporate a couple more things into the way we talk to make things a little more holistic.
Thank you, AJ. We're gonna keep it brief here with responses, please. So, Drew, then Mitch, and then I want to give V a chance to follow up just in case.
Yeah, no,
you want
just
to.
just real quick. You know, I think the term that I think we've landed on now is digital liberation.
It's a good term.
Digital liberation is a blanket term, and I think that is that is really our best bet in really moving forward. But what I wanted to say is that, you know, we are also on the verge of having everything in our home connected to the internet, right? And and in somebody's idea, they'll have control of it, not us. And once that reaches a certain point, once we get to a certain point of somebody having the ability to control practically everything that's in our homes and listen to everything that we say. I mean, they can already do that. I mean, Amazon just got nailed on that. But we are very nearly on the verge of losing a lot of freedoms.
Yeah.
And it really going into into a dystopian hellscape. And it could go either way right now, but we should be the shepherds of leaning the, you know, pushing that envelope, you know, with some of these other good organizations like in Electronic Frontier Foundation and the Algorithmic Justice League and Louis Rossman's Right to Repair group.
Okay. I want to.
Sorry,
Mitch,
I went
no,
way
you're
longer
good.
than I meant.
No, yeah. Okay, Mitch. Just a brief thing, and then V. I want to give you a chance. Mitch, go.
Just a reiteration that we are the party of the internet, and while we shouldn't remain a single issue party, which, Yari, to be completely fair, I believe was your original question of whether or not we are still or should be promoting ourselves as a single issue party. From which that stance, I am 100% agreement with AJ that we're not the party of copyright and patent reform. We're the party of humans, beings. We're free and open. However, I think that in terms of platform promotion, we shouldn't be lessening everything. More so, we should be making everything promoted on equal grounds. I think copyright reform is just as important as police reform, is just as important as patent abolition, is just as important as improving Pan-American relations. So I think that we have a very unique platform, and the fact that our very foundations lie on copyright and patent reform isn't something to be ignored. While that may not be the thing that people go to, I think that that's something we have to tell people why it's important.
Yeah. Thank you. I think a thing I want to point out here, that I don't know if it has been articulated this way, but I did hear in some of your statements, is that all of these issues are connected, right? And so no matter how we phrase them, whether we prioritize one thing or another, right? They are all integrated and connected. And so it's important that we have all of them up there. V, I want to give you a chance to butt in here if you want to say anything.
I want to reiterate that a lot of us are on the same page. We are, quote unquote, the party of the internet. And that means to us that, you know, not only do we get to have our life on the internet, but that we also are very real humans, humanistic, civil liberties, and human rights are very important to us. And I want to point out that in the way that we differ is not because we're different, but because we have different skills in how we approach and defend and protect and empower people. And yeah, I'm just very proud of us and happy to be here, kind of moment, interjection.
Thank you, V. AJ, final thoughts on this.
I mean, I'll keep this brief because I know that I've launched a whole
Yeah.
discussion here, and we could go into other topics. But I think what I really want to say to close out here is I wouldn't disagree at all with anything that any of our friends here have said whatsoever. Pretty much, I just want us to imagine more. I want us to take all of this in mind and still continue to expand beyond that. I don't want us to be limited. I do still think that this concept of digital liberation is very important. I just think we can go even further with our values and draw even more conclusions about what we want the world to look like. I don't want to be limited by that, because I think if I limited myself in that way, the way I'm worried that we could limit ourselves when talking to other people or doing some of the outreach stuff I've done, I don't think that Mitch or I would have been invited to as many of the podcasts that we've been invited to.
Yeah.
I don't think we've been making as many of the connections. I don't think we would have made as many of the snarky tweets that got a decent amount of attention. I mean, I don't think one viral tweet that Mitch and I made was about copyright. The rest were about things like civil liberties. Some of the trans rights tweets always do really well, always a staple. We love making those, which is a pressing issue right now, right? There are other pressing issues then are digital liberation. So that's just what I want to mention, right? Yes, and to borrow like a theater term or an improv term.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for some really fascinating thoughts. Love this discussion. So appreciate all of you and your comments. Wow. No surprises here, really, when I think about it. We're going longer than I thought we would. Who would have thought? That said, though, yeah, wow, indeed, yeah. I think I want to ask a question related. It's a bit more existential. We're getting into the existential questions. Ruh-roh. I am, V mentioned this as something or something similar as a thing that he's experienced, asked in other organizations, as sort of a why, right? And I guess I want to ask a version of that here. Why are you here? But more specifically, this question, and I'm gonna what order did I go in last time? It was bop, 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 bop. V, I'm gonna start with you on this one. The question is, generally, why are you here? But more specifically, why the Pirates as opposed to any other organization? And AJ brought up something, I think it was AJ, earlier in the discussion about the possibility, about how with many of our ideas, it is difficult to change minds. And so we should focus on some few key issues. Might have been one of the others. Honestly, don't remember. And I guess with regards to that, right, why are you here with the Pirates? How do you hope to accomplish change? And what sort of changing of minds do you see as a potential for the Pirates to do as a part of that?
Well, there's this line from a very indie movie that I'm just gonna steal. And in the movie, the person who uses it in context of praying over a meal. And the character in the movie says, "All right, well, let's get personal." and then it starts like babbling all these like expletives. But without the expletives, let's get personal. I am here because I am a pirate. As a person, I have lived a very different life. Um, because of this different life, I've met a lot of oppression and I've met a lot of opposition to just existing, trans, Hispanic, whatever you name it. And that's why I'm here. What keeps me a pirate is that every chance I can, I am looking for information. It can be as simple as like how to help others with polycystic ovarian syndrome in a female bodied assigned sex as female at birth. Medical literature does not cover that. The medical science, the medical doctors do not know what to do with that. And there's no information out there. There's no clinical trials. There's nothing. And so I keep looking. I accomplished change in terms of like female health or female sex health sex by listening to others and saying, "Oh, you are also experiencing this. Have you tried this? I don't know if it'll work, but hey, we're at our wits' ends. Do you want to try it?" And so, how do you accomplish change? You accomplish change by listening and by, unfortunately, troubleshooting and hoping for change. That's how I'm here, how I've made it this far. The changing of the minds is that people don't know that they have the ability to change. People don't know that they have the ability to change the world around them. We've been told that at a very young age that we should grow out of it. That magical thinking is not real. If you think hard enough that you'll change, you might never change. There's musicians. Some of my favorite songs is like, "I think I can change," or I can change, I can change, and it's like just those three words: I can change, I can change, I can change. Um, people don't. People are losing hope in in a very real way, in a very hard way, and I just know it that we can do something. And if it's anything, I love the fact that that it was so surprising that I did get nominated um, for chair, and I love the fact that I'm here in this nomination in this candidate debate because I believe in the leadership of my my in Spanish is compatriots, my comrades in arms. I believe in every single one of everyone who has done any work in the party movement internationally and locally in the United States. Um, so yeah, that's the moving forward. We are not just
Yeah.
a party of the internet; we're a party of change.
Cool. Thank you. Hey Jay, sorry, I should have said you're on deck. My apologies. Congrats. You're answering the question next. Um, uh, Mitch, you're on deck. Um,
Sure.
if you're ready, AJ.
I can be ready.
And I can give you the spin because I like doing the little spin beforehand. Um, uh, which is as we, same sort of thing, right? Why pirates, right? You could bring your skills to any organization. Why pirates? Why here? How do we change minds? What sort of changing of minds can we go and accomplish? And specifically, I'm curious, you talked earlier about these sort of potential alternate systems. And I know you were talking at that moment about payment, but you have talked about these sort of things before in other realms. And so I'm curious what you think we can do in terms of how we sort of structure or organize ourselves to help bring whatever change you might envision about.
Okay, thank you, Gary. I think I should start by saying my political awakening came around 2014 when I was 12 years old. And that's when I realized, wait, what do you mean only now gay people are allowed to get married? I thought we would have done that a bit ago by now. Uh, and in that moment, almost everything to me became about civil libertarianism. And that became my primary goal for forever. Then throughout my life as a teenager, I came to realize what that meant and encountered new issues in my life, the life of my friends, and all the ways could get better, ways that we were maybe getting screwed over a little bit. Um, and it just became very important to me. The whole thing became very important to me. I realized that as things currently were, there were a lot of issues with how we did things. And there were a lot of issues that I thought could be fixed by having conversations and by the free access of knowledge. Because I looked around me, I realized that a lot of what people were colloquially calling ignorance, both about civil liberties and other things, it truly was ignorance. Someone didn't get to them with the right information before they decided to close their mind, or maybe now, if we tried, that they would be able to open their mind again. And I tried to get involved with various libertarian causes or more leftist causes, and none of them ever appealed to me entirely. So then I found this organization, a special third thing, a special little movement that had everything I was looking for, a humanism, a sort of a pragmatism mixed with a more experimental spirit, a group that caters to artists and academics, a group that does want to change your mind and doesn't want to leave anybody behind. I love all of the core values. I love what I've read at Falkvinge on liberty on his website. I like his books. Naturally, the movement didn't stop with him, and he didn't want it to stop with him. So I looked into the German pirates is actually where I found the organization. I liked their ideas. I liked their posters about legalizing weed that are all really colorful. Those posters are what got me into the party. All of that stuff, it really appealed to me, and I realized that, oh, okay, there is a space for whatever it is I'm looking for, and whatever values I have. Because, like I said, I felt like a lot of these movements that we have DNA that we share DNA with, there's just something about all of them that I don't quite jive with. Some level of, over ideologizing, being dogmatic to these sets of ideals and principles instead of experimenting, or being so dogmatic that you completely forget the human element entirely. I mean, how many times have we had that? And I'm sure all of you have experiences talking to people that are part of these very similar groups, and just thinking that they miss the point because they're not talking about the human element anymore at all. And a lot of the time, this comes in the form of people doing all of this weird justification, and usually it comes in the form of playing devil's advocate for a bunch of authoritarian states for no reason. Things like that happen all the time, and it's just like, how could this have happened if again, whether you're talking about libertarian groups, leftist groups, pick one, pick any. How could that have happened if you were focusing on the human element? They aren't focusing on the human element. And I think the reason why I'm drawn to this organization is I think we were founded with the right principles. I think we can finally get it right. I think we can really finally offer the world something different, something that is needed now. We can expand, we can focus on freedom of information, on educating people, on actually taking that seriously, and realizing that behind every bad policy decision, there were a bunch of people that were tricked into making it by people with other interests, or people that weren't informed, or people that decided to close their minds. Which, I mean, if we couldn't get them in this lifetime, what can we do to change future generations to make them more informed? These are the things that are really important to me, and that's what I mean when I say that I like the very anti-ideological aspect of this organization. None of that is, it's a level down. It's a level below your theory books or your economics books, your political pundit. It is the human element. And, Yari, you were talking about how I always kind of go off about just sort of throwing the idea of alternative systems out there. I do that a lot. That's not always because I have a solution, because I have a system to bring. That's just because I always want to remind everybody there's definitely another way of doing this that no one's found yet.
Yep.
I try to remind people all the time, and sometimes I do default to saying, okay, we'll do it the traditional way right now, and maybe we'll come up with a solution in the future. Or sometimes I say, hey, let's go for this brand new thing we just thought up. I like the modularity of it all. These are really the reasons why I'm drawn to this organization. Just to repeat, to bring it back in, as someone whose activist spirit was born out of this civil libertarianism and this just want to know more, this placing of free and open information at the top as knowledge being the thing that could fix a lot of issues, and believing that people are ignorant instead of malevolent every single time. Why would I join any other organization? Because while there are a lot of organizations that kind of get it, that come to the same conclusions that I come to, they're using completely different frameworks that always lead them astray in some other way. And I think we can do better, because those people aren't bad people at all either. I mean, they're certainly a lot better than, your establishment politicians, right, in terms of what they're thinking and where their thought processes are. But they're going wrong too. How can we help show them there's a better way? Help show more good-hearted people that there's an even a better way to reach your conclusions. So I don't really see that there's another spot for me, and that's why sometimes I can get a bit protective of our unique identity. And I've done that in the past. I've got water
I'm gonna.
over it. If I can wrap up.
Yep.
The reason why I get very protective of us having a unique identity that is not like any other movement is because I don't. There is one thing I ask of anyone who wants to become a pirate, and that is simply to adopt our methodology. There are a lot of people that find the organization tempting because they've reached a lot of the same conclusions. But if they haven't adopted our methodology for seeing the world, then I don't think they quite understand the spirit. We're a different organization for a reason. And I really, I think there's something very, very special about that, and I want to share it with more people. I want more people to understand how special our way of looking at the world is.
I want to acknowledge V. Thank you so much for being a part of this discussion / debate / forum. Do you want to take 30 seconds to a minute and just say any final words before you have to head out, or do you have to go?
I can say final words. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, give me those final words.
Okay, y'all, let's do it. So here are the final words. We are in the United States of America, and we are very, very lucky to be here. And I am so thankful to work with everyone in the different ways that we've worked with since I joined the party. And I am very thankful for the opportunity to be a candidate among these amazing and really talented group of people. Vote for V. I mean, stands for V. V is for vote. And y'all have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, V.
Thanks, V. And also, by the way, to answer a question about the voting earlier, yes, it will be. You can rank. It's not check or no check. It's you get to put numbers and things. Yeah, it's a good thing. What do you think I would? Well, I mean, also, I don't have a choice. It's actually specified. The method of voting is specified by the bylaws, and also that means we chose a good one, obviously. Mitch, you were on deck, and I want to give you the chance to talk about these same sort of ideas. Again, the prompt / question was sort of why are you here? Why pirates versus other organizations when your skills could certainly be used in other organizations. Drew, I'm really going to be excited to hear your thoughts on this. How can we go about, how can the Pirates go about creating some sort of changing of minds as part of that? Yeah, curious for your thoughts.
So I had to go back in my sent email, and I found an email from May 21st, 2018, sent to Captain of the United States Pirate Party, Liz Gorski, where I talked about my interest in wanting to join the Pirate Party and wanting to leave the Libertarian Party of Illinois because I thought I'd have more freedom as a pirate. This is 2 years before I actually made the commitment to joining the United States Pirate Party. I see the Pirate Party, again, and I've said this before, I've said this multiple times already, and I'm going to continue to say it, we are the party of free and open. This is the one party where I thought if I ran for office, I could wear jeans and a t-shirt and no one would say anything to me. And I liked that. I liked the idea that this was I always say that the United States Pirate Party is a party of state parties. However, each state party is a party of the people. Like, it's very, very get down to the nitty gritty. You are looking at common people. No one here is a politician. No one here is a career politician. And in my email to Liz, I specified I'm tired of career politicians and cogs in the machine. And you know it's a dated email because I refer to U.S. citizens as Americans. So with that being said, my opinions haven't changed on that. I think that this is still the party of free and open and allows you to be the most honest version of yourself as you can be. I have recommended policies that would probably be scoffed at, but we have had open and honest conversations in platform. I couldn't imagine going back to the Libertarian Party and suggesting Governor Ventura's maximum wage. I couldn't imagine having the same conversations that we've had about land value tax in terms of a taxation that doesn't hinder on privacy. Brilliant. I can't believe that we haven't that people haven't found this party sooner. And I think that the fact that in 2023, the year of our Lord 2023, we are growing far more than we were 5 years ago when I first reached out to the party, that speaks volumes that people are realizing what's in front of them. That this is the party of free and open, that this is the party of pirates, that pirates are fucking cool. And it turns out we're democratic as fuck. Hell yeah. So literally the only party that I could possibly ever leave and join and replace the United States Pirate Party is the Mitch DeVillo party, because that's the only party that would be more accurate to me.
Mitch, you're making Chicagoland. I think that's pretty close, isn't it?
As far as I'm concerned, you just said my name is synonymous with Chicagoland.
Cool. Thank you so much, Drew. Thoughts? Same question. Do you need me to repeat?
Why am I here?
Why are you here with? Yeah. Why are you here with the Pirates?
Well, I'm here. I'm here in general, being involved in politics because the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. That's why I'm here. Because all of these things I feel the Digital Liberation Front is the front for where we're going to be fighting a lot of fights right now. That's more specifically why I'm here with the Pirates. It is more on the digital side, but it's also because I didn't find anything when I was looking for a new political home. This was the best fit for me. It's a lot like what Mitch said. This is the best fit for me. And I wanted to share this message of digital liberation. To steal from the whole, evangelist trope, that's kind of what it is. And I think that's, I think our best role is to be be the voice of liberation where most people aren't even thinking about it. A lot of these issues, when it comes to these electronic freedoms, people aren't thinking about giving up their privacy, or if it's, or maybe it's just, the one guy that is always the civil libertarian that always says no for, it's always a guy. But there's always somebody that wants to take our freedoms away. There's always somebody that has in their mind all of our freedoms are bad. Like there's somebody somewhere that wants to take all of our freedoms away. And we need to be vigilant against that. We need to fight against that. We need to speak up against that. We need to bring things together and tie things together where people might not see it from that perspective. And I think that's one of the biggest parts of our role right now, is to try and be, the people over here that, oh, wow, they actually make a lot of sense. Oh, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be giving up all of our privacy and all of our information to be used and exploited, by corporations and governments, just because, I mean, didn't Zimbabwe basically just ban free speech, for crying out loud? Their new government basically, and then there was some, so I mean, there's some crazy stuff going on around the world, and here at home that we got to watch out for. And I think there's another thing that goes with the digital freedom is the Congress passed a law about forcing car manufacturers to put in anti-drunk driving measures, passive anti-drunk driving measures into cars by like 2026. There's some really crazy things coming along with these stuff. And with many Republican state houses, they're infringing on everything that they hate. Any civil liberties of anybody that they can take away, they're trying to take them away. So I think, very much like Mitch, I'm here because this is the best fit for me. But again, I'm really involved in politics because, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. So
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Is that a quote from something, by the way?
Yeah. Wing Commander 4.
Is it really?
Yeah. With Mark Hamill, by the way.
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay. Good to know. Well, I'm a games scholar, so I get to quote games all the time. That's great. I love that one. Good. Love it. Incredible. I'm going to reference that too. Getting some good quotes for my thesis this evening. That's what I'm really here for. Everyone knows that. So I think we're down to 3, and I'll be honest, V said it well. We are digital beings, but we are also physical beings. I have a body, and I am tired. So I think it's about time that we probably wrap this one up. I want to acknowledge the fact that Michael, who is one of our illustrious candidates for secretary or scribe, so gracefully jumped into our meeting here. And Michael, if you want to give a brief little wrap-up statement for your campaign, as it were.
Sure.
You're more than welcome to. And then I want to give the others the same chance
Wrap
for the
up how?
evening. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, should I direct you? I can
Possibly.
time
I don't
you
know
pretty
like where I would
easily.
go with whing up. I don't want to like
Why?
do like an introduction
I mean, like,
as I'm leaving.
yeah, but, I mean, I think for secretary stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this, I'll basically, here's what I'll give you, which is just sort of What do you love this one? What do you hope to accomplish if elected to the role of secretary in the next year? And as part of that, why, sort of like why should people vote for you?
Oh boy. Well, maybe I should have prepared a little bit more for this type of question. But hello, my name is Michael, and I realize I'm saying hello as a closing statement, but you know what?
There'll be other chances.
It's
People know you
fine.
from Discord, from the previous videos. You're good.
Yes. No. Then just like, I've already introduced myself in the other ones, but so could you repeat the question?
Yeah. What do you hope to accomplish in the next
Right.
year if you're elected to secretary?
In the next year, if elected, I hope to make, for starters, make the minutes for each bi-weekly, right? Well, no,
Weekly PNC meetings.
weekly PNC meetings. I would hope to make the minutes more easily accessible to fall in line with our transparency priority. I would make it more on the top of our website and not kind of hidden in the wiki. Just like to think for starters. I know the church that I go to, like every week there's like a bulletin. There's like a weekly bulletin, perhaps something like that. Have a link at the top. It's like have a drop down that says PNC meetings minutes, and then after that you could click on that, and then it says most recent here, and then previous down below. I would also aim to have a spot for feedback if anyone wishes to give feedback on minutes, because I know that not everyone is able to get to YouTube, and I'm sure not everyone wants to get to YouTube because Google sucks as a corporation, and I know some people just wouldn't want to give them that time. So for those that don't want to go to YouTube or can't go to YouTube, I think having the minutes in a nice little like top spot on the website would be much more in line with our transparency bullet. Yeah. That's kind of my like big one at the moment.
Any other final words? Because I want to get to.
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, I kind of throw out words aimlessly and like try to string them together in a sentence that makes sense, but
that is the human condition.
Yeah, that's all I have for now, I guess. I don't want to be here for like 20 minutes explaining why you should vote for me, but yeah, if that sounds cool, vote for me for secretary, and I hope soon I get to debate the other secretary nominee.
Yeah, it would be really nice to.
Fingers crossed.
You're so. I agree so much. It would be nice if we could organize something with you and with Matthew tomorrow.
For sure.
See. Either way, voting form is going to be open later tonight. I will be making an announcement on the Discord, and also there'll be a post on the website. Thank you, Michael, for stepping into the meeting and for that little blurb.
Of course.
Appreciate it. AJ, I think, just stepped out for a second, but that is okay. We're going to do Mitch and then Drew and then AJ. So Mitch, I want to ask you to give a final statement. I guess same sort of thing, right? What would you hope to accomplish in the next year as chair or vice chair?
So I'll start with the accomplishments and move backwards. The one thing I do hope to accomplish, and it's something that I plan on working as if I get elected to Swarm Care as well, and that's to grow the young pirates. I would like to see college campus pirate parties. I would like to see that not just in the places that we have state PNC members, but also just in colleges in general. I think that that is a great opportunity for us to really get into the heart and minds of people, especially the youth who are getting ready to enter the adult world and have to enter the big, scary world of economics and politics. I think that having a pirate party in every campus, while in every campus, I am dreaming. However, a couple campuses, a handful, maybe a D1 school, that'd be cool. Uh, but in terms of why you should vote for me, whether that be for captain, vice captain, or swarm care manager, if there's one thing I've proven, it's that I've dedicated myself to this party. And while there may be days where I have to step away, or there may be days where I just can't do it, whether for mental or time constraint or emotional reasons, I promise you that these last 3 years that I've been involved in the party, and the last 5 years I've been interested, nothing has wavered. So if you put me in a position that you all believe I am best suited for, I promise to do my very best in accomplishing that.
Cool. Love it. Thank you so much, Mitch. Drew, same question. What do you hope to accomplish in the next year if elected to vice chair? And final words.
I will be the assistant that whoever the chairperson is, whoever the captain is. That's what I see the role as vice chair being, is being an assistant to help help or fill in for the captain. And I will gladly do that. I don't see the vice captain. I don't even see the captain as a leadership position necessarily. I think the idea is to be a facilitator. Honestly, as chair or vice chair filling in, I would be there to just try to make sure that things are moving along, that we try to keep on track, and that's about it. As chair, it wouldn't be my party. It's as vice chair, it's not my party. Even as as captain and one of the founders of the Pennsylvania Pirate Party, it's not my party. It's not. It isn't for me to decide what we do. It's for everybody that contributes to tell me what we're gonna do. I mean, I can help and try to throw some ideas and do things like that, but it's not for me to run. That's why I was always very against anybody in previous parties that I was involved with. The people that were always there to try and get a quote unquote position of power. And wield it with any kind. I always saw that as a red flag, as anybody that really wants some kind of position so that they can do X, Y, or Z. When I get elected, this is what I'm going to do. No, it's not. That's not the kind of way that I don't see leadership that way. I see leadership as being a facilitator, and really. It's not for me. I mean, I might have a vote, but it's not any greater or less than anybody else's. And I think that goes along with the radical democracy of the classical pirates. The captain's vote maybe was the only time the captain was really in charge is when they were in a battle. That is when they gave orders. The rest of the time, the captain really didn't give orders. Unless they happen to also be the owner of the boat, then things changed a little bit. But honestly, that I don't own the boat, so I don't see me. I see me as being a captain, a captain or a vice captain that would be taking most of my cues from the other members and the other participants. Because it's not the Drew party, it's not the Mitch party, it's not the Yari party, it's the pirate party, and we are all collectively pirates. And I don't think using the word collective is a bad term here. We have a swarm. That's a collective thing.
Yeah.
And again, I also I think that people just work better when they're working together for similar goals, and we shouldn't be there shouldn't be somebody out there with a slave drive, doing the slave driving if everybody's a volunteer. So
Yeah.
that's the way I like things.
Cool. Thank you so much, Drew. AJ, we're doing final comments and wrap up. My only guiding question as a part of this is, what do you hope to accomplish during the next year if elected to any of the positions that you've been nominated for?
All right. Let me first see. I mean, I think my camera's all right, but I want to see it on stream real quick. That might take a while. Does my camera look like right to you all? Am I centered right?
Yep.
Am I just want to make sure that no one can see my IU branded pajama pants I have on currently.
You look great.
Okay, excellent. On that note, I do want to say, I go to a D1 school, so if you want Mitch's vision for the young pirates, you should actually vote for me instead, because I IU, so I could accomplish that goal. Just saying. Oh no, Mitch, would you like to challenge me on that? I'll let you, and then we'll go back to. Oh.
I just have a question: is what has stopped you from doing it your entire reign as captain?
Oh, well, Mitch, I'm gonna say
we're gonna get hands thrown in the final 5 minutes.
Mitch. Here's the thing. We decided that it would be possible to throw me into the role of captain without a vice captain, and that was a mistake. I have not been able to properly delegate my work efficiently. The 2022 to 2023 board has had some errors, and I'm wearing too many hats. Mitch, if you would like to correct that error, I would love to see you as my vice chair. That's what you can do to correct that. Any further questions?
Let's not throw hands. AJ, finish your statement.
I'm just putting that out there. I would have done a lot better with a vice chair, and I will do very well. Right. I will do very well this year as well because I'll have a vice chair. Another kind of tongue-in-cheek thing I want to say real quick is I put a lot of work into this conference. I've been here pretty every day trying to get everything organized because we've had a lot of hiccups with this one. So I would just like to maybe plead to the voter base a little bit. Please let that count for something. I've worked very hard to organize this thing. That's all. On to my actual sort of like things. Things that I want to do. I made a dinky little website. Let me pull that up because I put some ideas on here. The first thing that I actually didn't list, that's not always that important, but I think it's going to be fun, is I want an in-person conference in 2024, and I want to start planning that like tomorrow. I think that's very important. In terms of other things that I want to plan tomorrow, something that we've actually started planning, one of my promises I made when I was elected the first time around is I wanted to run a huge slate of local candidates in 2024. We've been setting up the infrastructure for that. It's been happening slowly. We're going to have to kick it into high gear, but I think it's possible. We need to run as many local level candidates in 2024 as possible. That is something I'm committed to doing. Another thing that I put here is actually about making concrete action plans, because this current board has had some productivity issues. And I think that something we should do once we sit down with the new board is we need to just use our basic productivity tools, right? I think tomorrow, when we're all sworn in, for 15 minutes, we need to sit down and think about, okay, can we start putting together a 3-month action plan together? Can we start putting together a 6-month action plan together? Can we start to really think about and plan for the future so we stop missing some of these targets? Because we have missed some of our targets, and I think that something like that, something like the Kanban board has been suggested a couple times. We do need one of those. I think we were working on one of those. Those basic productivity tools will help us out, and I want to start with that as soon as this conference is over, because the only reason why we don't have those things yet is because we had to start planning for the conference. Next up is everything I've been saying about a bold brand. What I have here is that branding is something I'm deeply fascinated by, and I think ours could be better. I want people to know who we are, and I want us to sort of be able to articulate that. I want every member of the party to be able to articulate that. And I think that yeah, I think the European pirates have been able to combine their silly nature with, some respectability politics. That's sort of the exact words I have here. Their balance isn't our balance, but I think there's a balance. I think we can talk about how to project something interesting, project some level of strength while still remaining who we are as a party, still remaining unique. And we need to fundraise. We need to do a lot of fundraising. We need to do a lot of fundraising. Now, a lot of those sound like really big goals, and it can sort of seem like, okay, well, how are you going to get all that done? How are we going to get all of that done, especially since we're still in a weird patch? Well, I believe in us. I believe in us because a couple years ago, the United States Pirate Party barely existed, and it took a lot of us, people who are currently in this room, people who joined a bit later, people who aren't currently in this room but still contributed a lot to fix that. In the past 2 or 3 years, we've turned everything around, and I can't take credit for that alone. Yari played a part in this. Mitch played a part in this. Like I said, a lot of people who weren't here played a major part in this. The reason why things are imperfect right now, I mean, they're always going to be imperfect. The reason why things are rocky right now is because a couple years ago, our organization pretty much almost died. When I got here, we had 2 state parties, the Massachusetts Pirates, who were always great, always on top of their game, and the Wisconsin Pirates, which were kind of barely hanging on by a thread. Now we have 5 state parties, and even the most turbulent of which, I'll just say Indiana for the sake of argument, because Indiana hasn't been getting my full attention, is still in better shape than the second best pirate party was 2 years ago. So I think we can do it. I think we can meet these goals. I think we have a team that can do it. No matter who you elect, we'll be able to do it. I want to serve as chair while we do this. I want to continue because I have greatly enjoyed fulfilling this position, and I want to do everything in my power to make all of these goals happen. You have a fantastic slate of candidates at your disposal in this election. You cannot go wrong with any of your choices. I'm going to make that very clear. But I am entirely, seriously committed to this organization because I just watched it come back from the brink of death. And it's very, very important to me that we take it beyond that because I have invested a lot and I want to keep investing more. I think that we can become a seriously important force. I think we're on our way. We're in a 2-party system. It's built that way. Success for us isn't going to look a certain way. It's going to look a couple of different ways. But I think we can get there. I think we can fundamentally change United States policy. I think we can build a movement that is capable of that. And it starts right now. I've said before, I keep saying every time there's an argument about, or not an argument, but a scuffle over how to do things more democratically, how to do things a little bit more radically, I remind everybody, we're already really good at that. We have yearly chair elections.
Yep.
That's crazy. And it's even been suggested before that maybe we shouldn't even have people run for chair for more than 1 year. It's stuff to make it even crazier. I'm the incumbent, but I've only served a year. That's really no time. So I don't want to really do this for more than 4 or 5 years, because as Yari and V have said multiple times throughout this, I also have a fleshy, needy life to live in the real world. But if you could help me stay in this position for 1, 2, at the most 3 more years, I will be entirely devoted to accomplishing these goals. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, AJ. Okay. And with that, we conclude the second set of debates, discussions, nay, a forum, you might even say, for the U.S. Pirate Party elections during Piratey McPirateface. The name rings, doesn't it? It rings. A celebration of direct democracy. A fantastic, truly fantastic national conference. I can't wait for the next one. Apparently it's going to be in person. I've heard rumors. Yeah. AJ, do you have the button to call us to hit the end of the stream ready? Because otherwise I can get it ready.
I can get it ready, or
Oh no, I'll get it ready in a second. No, we're good. I've
got the button right here.
Oh, you've got the button. Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Look
He's
at that.
got his finger on the button.
You've got your finger on the button. Terrifying. Okay. Voting goes live. I'm gonna say it because it'll take me about. There's a couple things that I have to tweak yet with the form and get the approval of the election committee that was elected last week Sunday for. That will all be done, that tweaking, that double checking, within the next hour and a half maximum. So that is to say, the voting form will be live by, for me, tonight here in Pacific time. For any of y'all in Eastern time, good luck. That said, it will be live all of tomorrow until we start counting the votes. That time will be announced. That will be 8 p.m. Eastern. But there will be multiple announcements before then, leading up to then. So the voting closes like just before 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure of the exact timing. It'll probably just be closes at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the voting form. That's the way that's going to work. Okay. But again, the website for voting, support.uspirates.org/vote. Same as the website has been throughout this entire process. So I'm very excited to see what happens here. Like I said before, we have an incredible slate of candidates. We have a wonderful group of people here with fantastic thoughts. What else can be said? Vote Pirate.
Vote Pirate and vote in your pirate elections. Shoot. I feel like there's a fun way we can expound upon this for like 30 seconds, but I'm wasting those 30 seconds right now and I can't figure it out. This is your party. Officer elections are finally free like this, and they will remain free like this, hopefully every year after this point. And we all get elected every year. So it is the most democratic it possibly can be. If you're, especially radical, if you're on the anarchist side of things, what could you ask for? This is literally your dream. We are a independent, horizontal co-op. Throw all the other buzzwords in there. Vote, please. Support your local.
Please vote. Please vote. Please vote in our election thing. Yeah. Please vote. Mitch, sign us out.
Yeah, I wanted to finish with a fun fact. I'm going to tie it together with this.
Amazing.
The 2002 Super Bowl was the Raiders versus the Buccaneers, which was the most pirate-coded Super Bowl in history. And even if you took away the name pirate, we are still the most pirate-coded party available to you. I think the term radical democracy is a great personification, or a great not personification, but a great.
It's a praxis.
That's it. It's praxis. It's pirate praxis.
Pirate praxis.
When I went to Cave and Rock, I could feel the spirit of Samuel May. That's not true. But hey,
I was gonna say, you specifically told me that wasn't true. So
no, I thought I wouldn't. It didn't happen. But when I was in there, I genuinely did feel like, wow, I could see how they're getting shit done in here. And hey, we're getting shit done here. However you guys vote, just vote. People say it's your civic duty when it comes to like US elections. just do it because you have the opportunity to make your voice heard. And this is going to be as
Yeah.
everything pirate, this is a truly democratic process.
Yeah, your vote will actually matter in this one. Yeah. And also, you get to do ranked choice. How many times do you get to do an actual ranked choice election, y'all? Us in the U.S. How many times are you going to get to do ranked choice yet in your life? I hope many more, and certainly many more with us as pirates.
But this can be
But,
the
like,
start. This can be
this
the
is the
start of
start.
your ranked choice journey. It's important.
Yeah.
Pirates from Maine and Alaska, ignore this comment since you already got it. But hey, we're gonna continue on with it.
All right. Can we hit that end button?
Yes, we can.
Let's just sign us out.
Any
vote
last
pirate.
words?
Vote pirate.
Vote pirate.
Vote pirate.
Vote pirate.
Pirate.
Vote pirate.
R.